Lynchie was with the conditions. He goes, well, you've got to play with a footy. And that is not, keep it pretty simple initially. Take territory when you can take it. Get a contest down the line and reset if you have to. Now, part of that whole setup, and they talked about Dane Zorko, how good he's been at setting them up from the back half. And I think the opposition, in absolute perfect conditions, would have to put an enormous amount of time into him. It's a fine line now between how much he bites off and how much that he just plays the percentages whilst the conditions are like this. I think that's going to be a really fascinating watch early.
And he'll love being called the Dork. I can't wait till that gets back to it. It's interesting. I love listening to all the players talk about Chris Fagan. There's an endearment there, a love for their coach because he's been such a friend, mentor, father figure, all rolled into one. He's just a very caring coach that's got the best out of this group and continues to now, and they're just riding the wave.
Hugh McCluggage, as Fags referenced just how quickly he's got to 200 games. He's only missed 5 games after his debut. He's the first player from the 2016 national draft to reach that milestone, and he's having his best season. So he's been on the podium in numerous best and fairest. He's been in the All-Australian squad. Hasn't graduated to either the best and fairest or the All-Australian blazer yet. He seems poised to now.
Yeah, I think he's in everyone's team right now. This is what I love most about him, amongst a whole host of other things. He's the number one scorer assist player in the competition. He doesn't waste possessions, Jace. And this era of football where 35s and 40s become more and more regular, but not to the value that this bloke gets with every single touch. And inevitably, every time he touches the footy, they're in a much better position as a result of it.
Which has improved over the years. I mean, he was a little bit hit and miss, and he had a lot of trouble converting when he had the opportunities, but he's become such a bona fide rely on every week, do the job, and do it with quality play for the Lions. He's as important as anyone in their makeup.
It was interesting. So Luke Beveridge said he defaulted to Lachie Neale. He's the player who's always caused them drama. So respectful of a lot that's in behind, but still Lachie Neale is the one.
Yeah, well, Lachie Neale is, for a dual Brownlow medalist, I think still underrated. Like when you talk who are the best players in the competition, you peel off 3 or 4 or 5, and not too often Lachie Neale's name is mentioned in amongst that group when it absolutely should be. And on a night like this, there are a few blokes you'd want to be on more than this fella here.
So tonight's a night for hunger, and this is what you wrote about in this morning's Herald.
Yeah, it is. The capacity to and Jason's better place to talk about this than me, but to come back up after a premiership is clearly not easy. Collingwood haven't been able to do it, and Geelong haven't been able to do it previously. And this side have been able to maintain a hunger, I think, driven by the likes of Neale and the likes of Zorko and the likes of McCluggage and Rayner getting better and better. But they're also driven by a group that's coming up underneath them that don't look at all sated by what happened last year. And the two Ashcroft brothers are at the heart of that. I mean, Will's had the World Smith medal, and then his brother Levi looks like he wants one immediately. So that's a great...
Yeah, and I think that's also one of the strengths of Chris Fagan, who's been through that process before, seen what's worked, what hasn't worked, and probably what enables them to get the best out of the players backing up from that.
I've got a feeling about the Dogs too, though. We talked a lot about Brisbane with good reason here at the Gabba.
Charles was the call. It's a head. Thank you.
So Marcus Bontempelli will go back to his group and deliver the last final messages, and he's going to look at Tom Liberatore in the eye, and he's going to look at he's going to look at Ed Richards in the eye and say, now's the time. We can't leave this too much longer. Sitting outside the 8 at this time with 8 genuine sides that are inside, Jace, you just can't wait too much.
No one in the competition has blown them off the park. No. They've been right there, so that must give you great confidence. When you've been in every single game that you've played, you know that you're thereabouts.
And you know you can score, averaging 90 points against the top 8 sides, which is enormous. So defensively, they've got to get the job done. It's great, Jared. No, it's a beautiful night, this as it's turned out now, because the consequences are great, and you've got 2 really good footy sides about to go at it, and no one can say with any great, definitiveness that who's going to win one way or the other. You can have your suspicion that anything could happen here.
It's still going to be greasy, and we heard Chris Fagan say you've still got to play wet weather football, but goals will come at a premium. So you've got to make the most of your opportunities when they present.
So the storms and lightning that we had earlier that put the start of this game under some threat have cleared. Still a light shower coming down, so it'll have big implications for how this game is played tonight, but this match will have plenty of implications for top 2, top 4, top 8, and you don't want to get left behind.
How good was that? Harris Andrews put the fist out to Sam Darcy, who fisted him and then pushed him in the chest.
McInerney wins the tap, and down to Hugh McCluggage. First kick of his 200th game. There's Rises close to goal, and there's Bontempelli sliding in. Eric Thompson.
Lions way.
It's out.
I think he played this pretty well.
He's dived on the footy and he's claimed that he's taken.
Well, that's the other thing. When you go to ground, you're going to slide, Gaz, and you can see he goes and he does slide forward and the legs go through.
But he was down initially and then he fumbled the ball, which is going to happen on a night like tonight.
But he's still sliding, and he made the decision to go to ground. That's the rule. If you make that decision.
It is the rule, but Eric wasn't even there when he first got there. Anyway, that's done now. As we know, he was the star of the second half as they came home in the heat in Gather Round. In vastly different conditions, it's a vastly different story at the left boot of Eric.
We just spoke about the cost of misses and what it might mean in a game where scoring could be difficult. And you're up against one of the best scoring team in the competition. You don't want to miss head shots like that.
Dale couldn't really find anything that he liked deep, so it's shallow for Bramble to make something of. The Lions have set their grid well. Bontempelli went to centre half back to offer, but it's long down the line to a contest that Darcy had a big fly at. Left it on the ground though. Andrews worked it around. Fletcher and Lester put it boundary side. Darcy's a bit slow to rise.
Just knocked the stuffing out of himself here. He's landed heavily, the big fella. It's a good jump at it. Geez, that would have been a mark. And that'll take 30 or 40 seconds to get back. He's just jogging back. He's fine, but winded, I think.
Self-inflicted.
Lachie Neale at this stoppage.
Lions in attack at the throw-in. McInerney's a welcome sight for them. Liberatore gave it up. Berry works it up for Hitwood. Kept away from him by Lobb. They fight underneath. Dogs will prevail momentarily, although Liberatore's hand pass wasn't that great. Williams under immense pressure. Kennedy's got company. Fletcher had a big fly. McInerney was left as the crummer, so they reversed roles. Zorko chases it a long way back, trying to set the Lions up with some intent. Neale weighted down. Rayner got his hand to it. Sleight of hand. Neale to Morris. Inward bound. Beautiful. And Levi's in the hole to take the mark.
You know what I love? If you go all the way back to the wing, the ball was coming backwards for the Brisbane Lions and it hit the deck. Zorko was chasing back and Harris Andrews could have picked it up. But you know what he did? He called Zorko in because he said, I want you to have the ball. And he applied a shepherd. We just don't see many shepherds these days. They often peel off to get the hand pass.
That's a heck of a kick from Logan Morris.
And the front half game there is strong again. Pressure in their front half was a feature last week.
Played every game in his debut season thus far. Levi Ashcroft pops through the first of the night. The Lions strike.
So started on the wing, Levi Ashcroft, and the race between him and Riley Sanders was warm. They've obviously played a hell of a lot of footy with and against each other through those under-18 setups, but I think he's had an outstanding first year. He's one of the rising star favourites in what is a pretty wide open field, but yeah, you're right, the vision from Morris is absolutely outstanding. The depth of kick, and there you see Sanders, who's gone to the goals and tried to defend 15 to 20 metres out, and Ashcroft's in the right spot at the right time.
You spoke about a warm embrace, Gaz. This isn't that warm. There, thank you. Just get away from me. It's going to be that sort of night. Just a couple of shoves the moment he gets there. Very different.
9th goal of the season for Levi Ashcroft. The Lions away. The Dogs forwards yet to have a decent look at it. McCluggage, the toe poke. Oh, Dale, that was a riser off the Gabba pitch on the first morning. Free kick for some high contact going the Bulldogs' way this time to Liberatore at the forefront. Delays the kick, and as a result, it's scratchy at best. Umpire down. Don't think there's any culprits. West went to ground, and Starcevic got a clean run at it. Archie kept it in, barely. Playing in front again, and the head goes back from O'Donnell. Morris is already proving a handful.
So this is the challenge. So Liam Jones starts on the bench, just repeating that. He's been brought into the side, starts on the bench. O'Donnell's been preferred, and Morris is in as good a form as any of the big forwards at the moment. And that's saying something, because there's plenty of them.
33 goals, 12 for the season. We've already seen his kicking prowess with the pass. Kicked 4 against the Dogs last time, mainly played on Rory Lobb on that occasion in gather round. And here he is to build what are already strong foundations in this game. Not the best kick to follow up, but chance at the back for Hipwood. The defence from English, then Johannesson, Dale, Williams. Interesting decision to keep it in. He got some important territory. There's Vandermeer. Charlie Cameron's the other one who's just started to find a bit of form for the Lions, so he'll be important, not just tonight, but as the Lions get closer to September.
They got 11 free kicks in their forward 50 last week. That's how well they tackled and pressured up. Most ever, equal most ever. So this front half game for the Lions is in really good stead.
It's been exclusively their way so far. McCluggage tried to feed it out, didn't succeed initially. Neale will get a go to soccer it toward the goal front. Dale repels. He's blasted back into centre field. Get after that. And Darcy was held so that he couldn't get after it. Darcy quick with the release. Richards flowing through. Pumps it in for Norton. He's got separation. Gardner front on. And West finishes the job.
Well, it's inevitably the way, isn't it? You have all the play at one end, you don't convert, you miss a couple of set shots, a couple of golden opportunities, and then it goes straight down the other end, straight through for a goal. Happened so quickly, didn't it? They just didn't have a chance to react after the free kick was paid. There wasn't a hell of a lot in it, but they're obviously going to keep a very close eye on that matchup. Look at the support here for the hand pass, and Gardner just can't get back in time. Norton out the back, a beautiful kick, free kick paid, but Riley West didn't bother waiting. He had an easy finish playing the advantage.
There was a tackle in amongst that of Tom Liberatore, which we shouldn't be surprised about. We've been marvelling. The rampaging bull that is Cam Rayner, who's just run over the top of everyone in the last 6 weeks. Well, he tried running over the top of Tom Liberatore, and he said, nah, not happening.
Yep, there it is there. Back in motion again. Through the legs almost went Neale, but there is Liberatore getting it forward, bit haphazard. Gardner trying to keep it away from Norton at all costs. Richards couldn't find his way out. Starcevic will be annoyed by the West goal. And some important territory to take it back to the wing. Seabull will get ball stuff from Lobb to get it forward. Ashcroft and Lester with the collaboration. Back along the wing, but Lobb or Kennedy both on guard. The middle is open for them, as you can see. Bramble. Darcy is a kick away. Leading up, but he goes shorter. He found, I'm not sure if by design or not. I suspect he was kicking into the gap for the lead of Darcy, but English read the cues better than anyone.
It was great because they were preserving the hole for Darcy to come and hit up into. And then all of a sudden, Tim English, you'll see him come through the middle of the ground and he says, well, I haven't got anyone on me. And then so Sam Darcy in the end just holds and English slots into it. So that's decision making. So that's all on Bramble. Darcy catches your eye, but pick the best option always.
He'll have a milestone of his own next week, Tim English. 150 games. Right now he's concentrating on delivering a perfect set shot. Precisely what he gives his team along with the lead.
We've spoken about their ability to score, then make the most of these opportunities. Get a couple of goals on the board, get yourself in the contest, take a little bit of the home crowd out of the equation. And they're doing very well from limited opportunities. 2 goals from 3 inside 50s. They're just separating really well, the big blokes. Fraser was dropping into that space as well. The 3 of them that probably could have positioned themselves to take the mark, but in the end, just a little bit of better ball use going forward, a little bit more measured.
Just trying to find Big Darcy Ford here to see where he is with the opposing number. He's standing on the mark, Darcy, and he got forward at the right time, so smart from English.
Luke Beveridge's only coached a couple of wins here, most memorably that semi-final. Dogs lead it early. They threaten Richards, though, halted in his progress. It allows Wilmont to send it out to half forward for the Lions, and they can chase after it. Coming out hard, Cameron one way, but it was well gathered by McNeil the other. O'Donnell crosses halfway with the kick, but outnumbering Zorko with footy in hand.
See how brave he is here. Brave enough.
Brave enough and precise enough, and Cameron without hesitation has the goal in his eyes and finds them. That's glorious from the Lions.
And And that's the Lions in a nutshell. That's them in a nutshell. The ball in the hands of the man that sets them up from the back half. Country roads going. Everything's beautiful at the moment when this song's being played. But we asked the question, Jace, whether rain coming down, how brave would Dane Zorko, not Zane Dorko, Dane Zorko, how brave would he be with ball in hand? And we get the answer straight away. There's nothing conservative about this. He just goes, I'll go straight to home. And the kick is beautiful.
Yeah, and the great thing is, Gaz, he chews off a lot of risky kicks week to week. And some of them don't work, but they know the benefit as a general rule of what he brings. And they're prepared to cop one or two that might cost you because it can break open a game when he does that.
Kick, not enough carry to be deemed a mark to Dale, who was aware of that. Was able to get the ball moving. Out to McNeil, back in the team tonight, waited for runners. Found one on the outside in Williams, sends it deep. It's going to fall just short of Norton, the target. Lester made it his own, but he ran into Riley West. Davidson up against the line. Andrews back through to Gardner, clearing kick. It's a bit of a hack. It's going to just stay in play. Dale at the full reach for Lohmann, flipped it to the inside. Morris couldn't get the running. Back by McNeil. Now a tackle is O'Donnell.
So
Morris.
Liam Jones is on. So Oscar McInerney goes into the ruck and Darcy Wilmont goes forward. So that might have been one of the reasons he goes and takes the resting ruckman when they rest forward.
McInerney had a mind to get it forward. Williams is onto it though. Tackled to ground by Dunkley. Dunkley and Bontempelli around each other in some regard. Bontempelli gets his high kick up inside the 50. Norton with the jump. Gardner made the spoil. Davidson and Starcevic get after it, the boundary.
There's another midfield. I don't call it, it's just a matchup. It's Bill Ashcroft and Ed Richards. You know, two of the outstanding footballers in the game. Now, they don't go tag each other, they just go head to head, and I think it'll appeal to both of them to see if they can get the points.
Ruckman and Tangle. And the ball lost underneath them.
This way again, come this way.
Rain is pretty well cleared. 2 hours of storms in the lead up will have kept the crowd down on what it might have been this Friday night, but plenty out under their ponchos as well. Richards ferrets are clear. Probes not very far. Lester had first access underneath Dunkley with the clearing kick, which hasn't gone terribly far. Lohmann loves to have a leap. English to Bontempelli. Got his kick away. What sort of direction? Not quite the right one. It's been marked on the last line. You fancy it, though it might all be checks.
Score of you. Mark-wise call is a mark. Please confirm.
Review underway. The field of play.
Good mark in the conditions.
A couple of weeks as the sub Gabba.
Yep.
But now required an extra height of the Bulldogs up front.
Clearly must be thinking he
Review
jumped
complete.
over.
Looking at this angle, we can see the ball's controlled before crossing the back of the behind line. Decision on scoreboard.
Greatly obvious a minute ago.
Yeah. So they've had time to set up, it's fair to say.
Swanee's here. He's just jotted it down.
Good.
Gardner goes for territory. Nigo got his way to the front. The scouts appear to be all the Bulldogs initially, but still it just whack forward. Awkward for Fort. Bramble. It's the sort of footy we're going to have all night, you would suspect, while the conditions stay like this. Holding with the arm on Norton. Now, there's no one back in the goal square. If he kicked quickly, he potentially could have got the ball to skid through, but he decides, after due consideration, that it's an interesting kick for Dale. Archie saw what his intentions were. Now the chase is on. Reveal getting a chance for a full game tonight. Flings it back. That's Cleary. Throws of Archie, and then Reveal against 3 Dogs. Sanders to Dale. It looked really purposeful in the kick, but went straight to the opposition, and Wilmont stepping in to take the mark. Continues to impress with his dash off half back. Blasts up again towards Morris. Good body work that time from Lob, who was his direct opponent. Garcia gets there just a step ahead of Archie, who threw the boot out. Anything could have happened, and as you saw, it's gone over the line and out of bounds.
Great contest, Logan Morris, one-on-one in the air and then recovers and gets a tap on, finds some space. Gun contested mark team, the Brisbane Lions, but just being much more basic early in this game, as you'd expect.
Lions by a point, approaching the halfway stage of this opening term. They grapple at the source for it. Bontempelli fed it up. Richards works the kick away from the congestion. Lester got met front on, but by his own man, and it's well gathered. Fraser released McNeil and then on to Garcia. Dogs spread quickly. Vandermeer with footy in hand. West wants it deep. Norton wanted it shallow. Vandermeer rejected both and sets it into the channel. Bontempelli followed it down almost, but not quite. Fletcher on the tidy up. Has Andrews out the back. Looking for the right target. He hasn't quite found and it slips away. The Dogs free kick.
Here's the mark. No.
Brambles ball.
Against Darcy. Time on.
Some high contacts.
It's a good win for the Dogs. Win the footy back to their half, go back inside 50 for against a team that love going the whole way and scoring from their back half.
The leapers are deep. It's a shallower kick. It didn't reach English. Fort brought it to ground and then dislodged it from West. And earns the stoppage.
Lions have been great starters this year, poor finishes. Dogs the reverse.
Tim, Oscar.
So I guess it's ironic because last time they played it was the opposite. But here we are. Difficult conditions. Tight opening term. Can the Bulldogs take advantage of some territory? Ashcroft with a tackle. Bontempelli comes out again. See it. The connection he was after. Vandermeer searching for it in the grass. Lester. And the Dogs put the pressure on. Make it so hard to exit. Starcevic, dangerous kick. Wasn't able to apply the full clamps, but the Dogs defence do the thing again. Dale comes away. The re-entry. Nice line defence. Wilmont stands up with all the elements of a defender. Mark dropped though, delicate position. Zorko went down and so did Dunkley, but Wilmont got the clearing kick. He's kicked it out to the open pass, just kept in by hip, would not be least enough to make sure there was no insufficient intent, and we'll have a throw in.
So that doesn't resemble the sort of footy that we come to expect from these teams. Like, there's no flow. You can't go from one end to the other at the moment in these conditions. Pressure and conditions having a say.
McInerney second up after a long spell in the season with the debilitating back injury. English around to the front. McInerney did enough to get it down. Fletcher's kick was smothered. Richards wasn't. Took ground out in front of Davidson, but Lester got the fisting.
Oscar. Sam.
Just left over the fence for a moment.
He called that he was in the ruck as he was coming off the bench there, Sam Darcy, from 30 metres away, and got there in time.
Waited for it.
In she goes. McInerney trying to feed the hungry underneath, but it wouldn't sit for Dunkley. Premiership Bulldog in his second season, Premiership, or his first season, Premiership Lion in his second season on the switch of clubs. Darcy got around McInerney this time. No effective tap though. Still to be won underneath at the coalface where it has been hot throughout. Fed up to Darcy and out the back to Sanders. Kick hasn't gone far, so get after it. They leap. Zorko had a fly, couldn't bring it in. Fed out Will. Dunkley released Will, who gave it to Levi. The Ashcrofts combined. Will put it up to Lohmann. Out to the run of Neale. Has a look what's on offer up ahead. Skids it up to Levi again. Fort lends a hand. Lohmann's got it. Has a look. Set it up. Kicked it beautifully. Dale on the line. Photo.
Can have a look at it.
Photo at the Gabba.
It wasn't bad, but it was going through too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That's more like the Brisbane Lions, though. That's what they do better than anyone. Is go
I believe it's no score. Can you please confirm the mark on the line?
Scorer is very confident the way he saw the ball come to him.
Clearly a mark.
Yeah.
Abundance of caution being exercised around the golf front, isn't there?
Let's go, though. Right, that's
Yeah.
a mark.
Come on, Swanee.
And I think it saved the point, didn't it? Because Bailey Dale played on the other side of the post, which would have been awarded as a point.
Decision on scoreboard.
Great pick-up, Mitchie.
All over it down here in the rain.
But that's the first time we've seen ball movement for a while that resembles what Brisbane are very, very good at. Up until that stage, the Western Bulldogs have just had a front half game that's been dominant.
Just out of interest, given that now we know it was marking the field of play, the behind should actually stand. It was a continuous piece of play. It was his mistake.
Complicated, Jared. We'll go back and have another 3 minutes.
Have a rest. Darcy gets up to the wing. It comes off hands. And it's all Zorko's to do with what he will, although the Brittoro cut the angles, he was still able to find Harris Andrews. And going to get 50 as well to boot. You take them on a night like tonight. Maintain possession. Get forward. Harris rarely threatens the Soarers. Only 2 goals in his last 6 years. He's not going to kick one here. Centres it instead to Wilmont.
He can launch it, Darcy Wilmont. He might go back and give it a ride.
And he's the sort of kid who's confident enough to do it.
And if he does flush it, he'll celebrate too. Don't worry about that.
3 goals won this season. Career high 31 disposals last week. It's a good run-up.
Well, the umpire's got faith. He's allotted him the 30 seconds.
He's given everyone maximum time to appreciate the long shot at goal. And to join him, no, in the celebrations, not quite. At the front though, Ashcroft. Not played on, Darcy waited. Claimed, play on the call again. Crowd not happy, Jones, English.
How could it have been play on?
That's dropping the ball all day long. All day long. So he's afforded Sam Darcy putting it over the umpire. Sam Darcy knew that wasn't a mark.
He said no mark, so it's not prior.
He knew it wasn't a mark though, and he bluffed the ump. English with the tap. Dale missed his boot, so still there. McInerney around the Lohmann, tried to dance. There's just no space in there. Dale hacks the kick outside the area. Zorko almost, but not quite.
He had more time, Will Ashcroft too. When he kicked that goal, he banged it on the boot straight away. He didn't realise that he had a little bit of time. So now it's Brisbane's chance or turn to try and keep this footy in their front half. Spent a bit of time down the other end. Clearance game at the moment in favour of the Bulldogs.
Neale clean, very quick, up to full forward. McInerney. How do you like that for a juggling mark from a ruckman?
That is clever. That is really good skill. Speaking about Liam Jones coming on to play on that second ruckman that's resting forward. The quick kick comes in. He just uses his height. He puts the left hand up to tap it back in front of himself, and then he's able to react and hold it at the second or third attempt before the flailing arm of Jones can spoil the ball. Can he complete the deal now?
Used his 205 centimetres well. Missed 8. Queries around his long-term durability, and he is so heart and soul here, and the Big O blasts are behind. Doubles the Lions lead.
Just a couple of easy ones.
They have, absolutely they have.
It has watered them at times, hasn't it? Cleary. In the back pocket. Well, probably the soundest option down the line. The leap came from Lohmann, but hard to get up to a 209 centimetre or 207 centimetre man. They're in handball though. And then a tackle without the footy to go with it. Levi Ashcroft. And Zorko getting some prolonged treatment there. That'll be a watch.
Phenomenally durable player.
Yes. Close to 300. Set up. Morris on from the front, just drifting across Rayner as he does. They're in the air, on the ground. A large threat. Not the ideal bounce for Jones. Brute strength just to shake that off. Kick it for Vandermeer. McNeil. Kennedy. Crash taken high. It's going to come back, I think. Initial call after the was paid. Vandermeer, who sort of half kicked, half rushed that behind, but got them over the line. And these two sides met in the 2021 semi-final here. Dramatic night that was. Kick blasts along the wing, almost beyond. Reville went to ground. He recovered pretty well, but it runs headlong into Liberatore. So Andrews parries it. And the umpire ticks that off. That's the Bulldogs' recent record. Chris Fagan, not a happy man.
No, he wasn't happy there because he was having a discussion with the physio around Dane Zorko, who's rolled his ankle. Looks like his left ankle there, and there's some concern whether he's going to be right.
Oh, that's a big out for the Lions.
There he tries to barge through with only partial success. Liver has more of it to half forward. Starcevic on guard though, leading that defence again, and then bodies are tangled up. The umpire just sort of could keep going and come out, and it did from Bontempelli, but Leicester was the spare back there. He's in the squeeze, quickly thinking attack. Are we going to see this speed of ball movement that we have over the last 6 weeks? Obviously more trying conditions and difficult to perform that tonight.
Well, they did have one-on-ones down the line.
Yeah,
It was interesting
if
that
he played on, they were on.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Levi Ashcroft just pulled up. Maybe they're going into a phase here where they just want to control the ball.
And the work continues on Dane Zorko. It's his 14 seasons. He's only missed the 7 games. He's on track for the final home and away game of the season to reach 300 here against Hawthorn if there isn't any interruption.
And he's gone down the race with the physio. Looks like it's a left foot. He's going to be addressed downstairs.
So as well as the Lions' quick ball movement, they have maintained their uncontested mark gains through that as well. You've seen that in exercise. Long up the line to have a bit of a fly at. Any real hope of getting it. Berry kept it alive. Neale found a way through where not many could have. And Archie sets him up for Lohmann. No, not quite. O'Donnell did just enough.
Did a good job, Charlie Cameron. He engaged his opponent, which allowed Lohmann to get a pretty free jump at it. It does look like they went into that deliberate hold the ball up moment. Then Jason, the number one uncontested mark gift team in the competition. So maybe with 4 minutes to go, they just want a little bit more control.
Tight opening term. Lions with a chance to extend their lead. Liberatore. Richards had a go. Liberatore sticks the tackle to make sure it doesn't come through. And
he tried to defend initially.
Would have been better to pretend that he'd taken a mark. Liberatore out of the back pocket, clears to Dale.
The sarcasm creeping in.
Thumps it up the line. Darcy wins the wrestle and escapes out the front. All manner of possibility for the Bonds. He works it as a hand pass and not his best. Williams, the second effort's rounded up by Leicester and lucky to escape.
You're watching at home and you're going, what are you doing, Marcus? He had absolutely 0 targets and he couldn't bounce the ball through from 75, so he had to try and hold up.
Miss kick from Bontempelli. Lohmann tries to get creative. Ashcroft taken care of by Johannesson, who was pushing the line. What was legal? Quick kick inside Liberatore. Darcy, English, Norton. So close. Was that knee or underneath?
I think it was knee.
He doesn't look too excited, Aaron.
So the easy thing would be if Aaron Norton just hit the umpire and hit the knee.
Thank you.
Score review. Umpire's call isn't behind. Can we just
How many
see if it
score
came off
reviews
above
we
the
having
knee?
a game there?
A bit of knee ball.
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball comes off above the player's knee. Decision on scoreboards.
Leg byes.
On the Swannies list.
Wilmont uses the short for McCluggage. Has a look at what's on offer.
Oh, dangerous.
Yep. Archie overwhelmed by the numbers. Sanders West couldn't quite find a way through. It's well thwarted by Leicester, who forced the contest, and they scramble as best they can without success.
So it's a dangerous kick if you're going to try and pick something off in the corridor and it's big Rory Lobb, the opponent of the man you're looking for.
Bontempelli with a secondary tap out into space. Dale comes one way with the shoulder charge on Dunkley. Dale does end up with it. Dunkley thwarts him. Good duel between the two.
So coming in against a side who are as good as any from going from the back half to the forward half, the Western Bulldogs have had their most forward half intercepts for the season. And that is a great result. So that goes into the planning and then the execution. So that's a tick box in this first quarter.
Point the difference. Lions lead it late in the term. It has been hard to win at the coalface.
Come straight back to Tim, Darcy.
Tried to work it out the side. The tackles stick Kennedy this time.
Tim, Darcy.
It's a good physical contest between two top half teams.
Tim, Darcy. Coming straight back.
Just about at a standstill late in the opening two. Neale finds some sort of hand pass. Will Ashcroft bunted it forward. Dunkley couldn't release. Tight confines. Zorko back to the bench.
Looked more promising, didn't it? From a body language point of view. Last 60 seconds then. Wilmont gets crashed into. Back over again. Oh, Fraser took exception to Will Ashcroft. I said a little bit of that in the opening term.
So as we said, Will Ashcroft's going essentially head-to-head with Ed Richards. Richards has had the 5 possessions. Will Ashcroft's had the 8.
English against Fort. Fort took the front position. Tried to give his mids first use, but easier said than done. High contact.
Front on tackle.
Free kicks, it seems to be the best way to break up the stoppages at the moment. Lachie Neale wasn't impressed.
He cannot believe it.
Richards sends them deep. Norton held at bay at the front. Liberatore and English. You'd probably prefer that it was Libba doing the taking in that sort of scenario, but the hands are fancy enough. Sanders looked to weave through. Back out to West. It could drop anywhere. Williams. Bontempelli. Williams again tries to get to his feet, but that's not easy at all.
Whose advantage, Jace? I mean, the scoreboard says no one, but who do you think it favours after a pretty gruelling first quarter?
I agree with what I said before. I think it's great for the confidence of the Bulldogs, but I don't think there's going to be much in this contest throughout the course of the evening.
It just has not been open at all. There's been no flow, hardly any end-to-end play, and that's to be understood, and I think the Dogs will take it.
So we are crawling our way to quarter time here. The Lions will be probably happy to keep the Dogs at bay, given how proximity to goal. Quick kick from Berry. A number to the stat sheet, but not on the scoreboard. So the conditions dictating plenty about how this game has been played so far. It's the Brisbane Lions 2-2-14, leading the Bulldogs 2-1-13. 3 gripping quarters to come.
All right, there we go, folks. As I said, we have 3 gripping quarters to come here up here at the Gabba, where it's the Brisbane Lions 2-2-14 leading the Western Bulldogs 2-1-13. I tell you what, she's a pretty tight game so far here. Only 1 point separating them at quarter time. And of course, both teams got a lot to play for this evening, as we'll have a little bit of a look at the ladder. Addie G, Manny, how you doing? Welcome in. There we go. Tina's in there, of course. Shouty. We're going to have a look at the ladder just for you, Eddie G. There we go. But I tell you what, it's a tight game. I think this is going to be a ring-a-ding-ding game all the way to the finish. Whether it's high scoring or not, it's going to be tight. It's going to be scrappy, I think. And I think it comes down to who takes their chances. Who takes their chances when they're presented to them. No goals is Friday night football. I tell you what, it's hard to understand these two teams not scoring some major goals. You know, look, I think the goals will certainly come for one of these two scrappy dogs. Exactly, Son all. Hey, let's just have a look at the ladder at the moment, because these two teams have got a lot to play for. Of course, the Brisbane Lions sitting second on the AFL ladder there on 50 points. Brisbane need to win this game to remain half a game in front of their third opponent. And, of course, remain second on the ladder, only half a game behind the Maggies. And, of course, for the Western Bulldogs down there in ninth, they need to win this game to creep their way into the top 8. And if the Doggies ended up winning this game, they'll jump right up into 5th position, pushing Fremantle back out to 9th. Can you believe it? Freo will be back out to 9th if the Doggies win. So There'll be a lot of teams, and that is just the live ladder being switched on now. There we go. So nothing has changed at the moment. As I said, both teams have got a lot to play for, especially with just, well, a handful or so games left in the home and away season. And of course, all these teams here will be probably watching in on Friday Night Football. Some of them might even be here in the live chat, listening on in. Hopefully we get some of the players in. You know, they could drop a comment as well. That'd be pretty cool. Hey, before we go any further, I just want to have a look at the lineups. Well, I think Zorko actually went off with a sore foot or rolled ankle, so he went down to the room. So we're going to see if he comes back up and he's able to play. He might just get a jab and be back out running. I tell you what, he'd be a massive loss if he didn't come back onto the ground for the Brisbane Lions. Hey, let's just have a look at the ins and outs because I didn't get to them. For the Brisbane Lions, Sam Marshall, Bruce Revel coming in, Noah Ainsworth and Zach Bailey going out. Sam Marshall is the sub. And of course, the only milestone game player out on the field today for Brisbane is, of course, hey, as Bags is milestone game, WA footy kid. Did you know that? Hugh McCluggage, hey, don't forget your luggage. Well done, 200 games. For the Western Bulldogs, their ins, Luke Cleary, Liam Jones, Lachlan McNeil going out, Nick Caulfield, Josh Doolan, Cooper Hines, and of course, Caleb Poulter is the sub. And of course, there's your teams. Zorko, the Greek dancing. I tell you what, go Lions, says WA footy kid. That is, I tell you what, there's a lot of going for him for the Lions today. I should say. Hey, the goal scorers Riley West, Tim English are the goal scorers for the Western Bulldogs, and of course Charlie Cameron, Levi Ashcroft are the goal scorers for the Brizzy Lions. Just a quick glance at the top disposal getters, because we're going to head back down to the ground in just a jiffy, because they're still in the huddle. Coaches are still talking, but they'll be spreading out back into their positions in just a moment. Bailey Dale there for the Western Bulldogs, leading with 10 disposals, 8 kicks, 2 handballs, 3 marks, a tackle, 2 clearances. Next best is from the Lions. Will Ashcroft, of course, always has a pretty good game, doesn't he, with on 8. Darcy Wilmont, 7. Tom Liberatore, he's up there with 7, 4 clearances, 4 tackles. So this is his type of game, scrappy one, in and under. This is a game that he'll love, and I'm sure he'll have a fantastic one as well. Lachie Neale there just with the 6. The Bont also with the 6. Couple of clearances for him so far. The milestone man, Hugh McCluggage, on 5 disposals up until quarter time. Levi Ashcroft, 5 with that 1 goal. Well done. Dane Zorko, yeah, I mean, we'll keep an eye on him. I'm sure he'll probably come back out. There we go. Let me just roll down there. Who is that? Sam Darcy. I'm not sure. I was going to try and check out his stats. I just couldn't quite see him. I wanted to see how he was rolling along there for the Western Bulldogs. I think he needs to really play a big part in today's game if he's going to be getting this team across the line. Also, there he is. He's had 4 touches. He's only had the 1 kick, 3 handballs, 2 marks, 3 hitouts so far. There we go. Hey, that's probably enough of me talking just at the moment. There are your team stats. Let me just put it back over there for a minute. Let's put it back there. There we go. Just for Addy G, there's one more look at the live ladder. Freo still in the top 8. All right, let's head back down to the ground for some more great footy action. It's the Lions by 1 point as we head on in to the second quarter.
They've stopped the Lions in their tracks enough to think they get some confidence out of that first quarter.
The rain has cleared. It is an excellent training ground. It'll still be slippery on the surface.
We've seen games here, haven't we, where the weather clears and it does transform pretty quickly.
There's Dane Zorko, who's back out there and looks to be moving okay at the moment. Behind him is his opponent. Be watching him pretty closely.
Second term at the Gabba. Brisbane by a point against the Western Bulldogs. McCluggage won the first clearance of the game. He's thwarted this time. Kennedy had it batted down. Berry ran into Liberatore and he never escaped from there. Bontempelli and Neale together side by side. McInerney Rapido is the way of the Lions. McInerney takes the territory up inside the 50. Lions didn't have a flyer, and Cleary handled it well.
Good result, playing on Charlie Cameron, left him and went to the ball. Really good mark.
I dare say it's not the inside 50 that Chris Fagan's looking for either, from the big O just teeing off with a sky ball.
Williams, not a lot to work with. So he too will take the territory. See what they've got in the air. Darcy presented, couldn't mark. McCluggage, Neale trying to knock it on. Dale, he was held after the ball departed.
Garcia was his opponent there. We'll just keep an eye on whether or not he's putting work into Lachie Neale.
Gets motoring. What sort of entry is this? Morris presented, lobbed the spoil. Lions working out the front. Williams driven backwards by Rayner mercilessly.
That was his game last week, Rayner. His tackling was absolutely ferocious. And as I said, they got themselves 11 free kicks in their forward 50 last week.
And the Lions tomorrow night will tackling like that in town.
I've certainly been keeping a close eye on Dane Zorko, and he does have a pronounced limp while he's running.
There he earns the free kick. Mass congestion inside the 50. So no targets to be found, just jumping practice. McInerney's the biggest in the pack, and he's the one who brings it down.
What sort of kick does he go for here, Gaz?
Gets it off. Rayner.
That one.
Sneaks it home. That's the best way to do it.
Exactly.
And Rayner's on the board.
I just didn't think it was an option given how much traffic was around him.
Well, he missed the centre in the first quarter, so he thought, well, Cam Rayner under pressure around the corner is a better bet than me. I couldn't put one through from 25 metres out directly in front.
He had to kick it off half a step.
It's a great job. But they'll be disappointed. Tim English and Rory Lobb are the two that are going to be disappointed here. So they got coverage in the goal square with Oscar McInerney. So there's English in front, Lobb coming from behind, and none of them got to the contest. English is the one that's culpable, most culpable there. That's your opponent.
Well, there were 3 Bulldogs players. They all turned their back while that happened and couldn't get there to smother.
So Stevie Johnson territory. That gone.
Yeah.
McInerney, crafty hit down two to Neale to Dunkley. That might get them going. Cameron considering whether to fly or not. Works it to the back. Tries to get the run at goal. Thought going hard the other way. Cleary emerged clean with the footy. Off to Kennedy. Dogs come away. Johannesson had Vandermeer. Marks and pauses. Eyes to the middle, but that would be a real gutsy kick under these conditions. Instead, the switch is on. Jones waits. Year of playing footy in Queensland, of course, during COVID. Simply part of the Blues and ended up back at the Bulldogs. Out on the wing, Neale versus Richards. Again, Sanders did enough, and that allowed Richards to march away with intent for West. Starcevic, good defensive technique, but now he's feeling the same. So strong that he's able to work his way through and kick it to half-back. Now it's McCluggage at it, but beaten on this occasion. The numbers prevailed. Bramble. Can't get it back. Garcia. He is cornered and caught. He pays the full price.
This again, great pressure, great tackle pressure from the Brisbane Lions. Looked to be in fantastic position, Riley West there, but Starcevic's last couple of defensive efforts have been outstanding.
There's the milestone man.
He sets out for Rayner to have a jump at. Never afraid to do so. Rayner starting to have an impact in this second term. Straight lines, Reville left underneath it. Jones arrived and made the spoil.
So Oscar McInerney had a little bit of joy in the middle here.
Clearance that didn't quite pan out. Rayner having a fly at things. And again at the source. It's tackle after tackle. Hard earned. So the Dogs have got the edge in the clearances. 13-9 thus far. Reville trying to win one for the Lions. Will Ashcroft probes. Morris underneath. Somehow dragged in the mark, which never looked his. So steers the pass, which didn't pan out. It bobbled for a moment. Cleary got hold of it. Wore the tackle.
The really interesting thing is that the McInerney and Ford are both playing and spending a lot of time on the ground at the same time in conditions that you wonder whether that would be the case.
McInerney gets a going goal sign, but Rayner didn't have the space.
And they've had an impact. They've been able to take marks inside their forward 50, McInerney particularly. So while he's rucking, Ford's engaging.
It's forced to swap. It's forced to swap. So Lob's gone onto the ruckman. And it looks like Liam Jones is going on to Logan Morris.
He's just got a fingertip to it. Kennedy, Johannesson, Dunkley. It's a live ball. Johannesson to Williams. Better luck this time for Kennedy, who had his quietest game for the Bulldogs last week. Single figures disposals as Davidson pursues it all the way to the line. And they had decent minutes, the two rucked again last week, so it's clearly what he's after structurally.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Like, of the two that you think, as we look at Dane Zorko, who just, as the chief has said, he doesn't look absolutely free in his gait.
Dunkley and Kennedy. McCluggage, initial fumble. Richards, so low to the ground. Quickly off to Bontempelli. It's West waiting for it, joined by Darcy. Norton getting it closer to goal. The danger rising and rising. West collects the jubilation and accolades for his second goal, and the crowd was stony silence.
It was hard to tell whether that was a goal or not.
I thought he missed, to be honest.
I think Aaron Norton's got a big role to play in this. He's the one that's able to keep the ball in front. When it looks like they're going to get pushed off the ball and the Lions have got numbers, just a little bit of work done on the boundary. Bont gets the long kick forward. And just when it looks like he's going to get shoved to the side, you can see they've got support in the middle. He's able to get that left hand, reach forward, keep it in front of Riley West, and it looked like it skewed off the side of his boot, the kick. That touch there was the one.
Kind of bananaed it, didn't he, in the end? And he got it there.
27th goal for the season, so his best around the sticks.
So they're the opportunities you can't miss. I mean, it's hard going at the moment from an attacking point of view. 3 goals apiece, got to grab your chance.
Back to the middle we go on a clean break. Will Ashcroft for the chance to set the lines up for Lohmann. O'Donnell got a hand in and won the footy. Lohmann's ramping after him. Again. Bontempelli just directing the set-up at the stoppage. Rucks are late to arrive. Pushed out the side. Ashcroft's sleight of hands. Archie reveal. Partially smothered, so no one knew whether to gather it or not. Towed out by Hipwood, but to the boundary.
So they got some real clearance dominance, the Western Bulldogs, late in that first quarter. But, gee, Oscar McInerney started to give them a good ride here in the ruck, the Brisbane Lions.
For the score from the stoppage inside 50, Hipwood was the hit target. Dragged the ground.
Starting to get a bit aggressive here. Tim English has got to really dig in. Can't let him get clear hands on this.
Trying for the runners out the side. Kennedy, though, stood in the way. Darcy has a leap in defence. Had the arm chops and the high contact. Darcy can direct play for the Bulldogs. Pulls the trigger on the kick down the line. Norton had company. McNeil helped him underneath. Davidson tackled, stripped of it. Lester wins holding the ball.
Another tackle, Jason's Brisbane Lions team. It's in their DNA now. It's part of what they need to do.
Move it to the middle. That kick was laced with danger, but it arrives with Berry. He had time to get himself fully set. As much distance as possible. Archie in prime position. Logan with the pickup and the goal that followed. Might have been a push in the back first, but Lohmann is not complaining. The Lions just stay ahead of the game as they have for most of this so far.
It's been close a couple of times, Kyle Lohmann. He's got his hands to the ball. Looks like he's going to take the mark. It just hasn't been there, and that's been a little bit of the story since he's come back into the lineup. But he's such an important player because he can make things happen on the scoreboard very quickly with an opportunity. Didn't know if this was the right kick going long. Looked like he had one at the top of the 50, but nice little shove there from Archie. Doesn't get paid.
Archie.
Well,
is he holding his ground?
He just held his ground.
Did he then extend? the finish is outstanding, but what we saw then was the kick, the Brisbane Lions kick that set this up, which we haven't seen much of because of conditions and the pressure from the Western Bulldogs, but that centering kick opened the whole game up.
McCluggage through the stoppage. Dunkley toppled over. The hand passes errant as a result. English, Bontempelli and Sanders. Chance for a meaningful entry. The link-up play to Kennedy. Pulls the kick to the hot spots. Numbers were against Davidson. Sanders kept it alive. Stuck it around for a moment.
Free kick, Zorko got cleaned up off the footy then.
And wants to go quickly. McCluggage made space to the wing to roll back inside. Spots up the target in Lohmann. The overcommitment gave Lohmann a lane and he used it to Morris.
Well, that's Liam Jones. And when we talk pre-game, it's Liam Jones now versus Liam Jones of 3 or 4 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago, he either gets there or makes a much better decision. He makes the decision to go, which is fine, but at some stage you've got to decide whether you've got to hold Lohmann up there. And he went for a spoil and slid straight past it.
And then O'Donnell had two opponents, didn't he? Didn't know who to take care of. In the end, it was a very easy inside 50 target for the Lions.
Starting to open up a little bit here for Brisbane.
Logan Morris, his first set shot was no good. To make amends, no, that's going to be left.
A little bit toey, a little bit off the instep. The first one at the other end, he nearly kicked the ground before he kicked the ball. So, again, they've had the opportunity to open up a little bit of a break and they've just missed some regulation set shots.
Johannesson accepts. Length on the kick, Zorko. He knew that Vandermeer was close and does what he needs to do.
So just there's been a little bit more expansive Brisbane with their ball use. They're just biting a little bit more off. There's some numbers opening up through the between the arcs. And when they find some time and space, they're so good by foot, they'll do some damage.
And the crowd will get that feel. They've been pretty quiet up until now.
There's not much to be excited about, to be honest. It's a real sort of in the trenches first quarter and 10 minutes.
Trying to force feed from the ruck. Ford hacks it, comes straight back. Fletcher handled it pretty well. Rayner got there before O'Donnell could close. Deep again on the kick. He's at the front, Morris. Doesn't bring it down. Credit to Jones. Now the scouts go to work. Archie flicks it back. Long. It's piled on top of it. But there it is. That DNA you were talking about. When Eric's up and running like that, big echo.
Well, as I said, I keep telling you that last week they got 11 free kicks in the forward 50. That's where you want to get your free kicks.
Close to the line. Rayner. If anyone can get out of there, it's Cam Rayner. He had to with a handball in the end. Tackle from Lohmann. Reveal. Handed off McCluggage. Ashcroft. Set for the snap. Delivers again. They are cranking now. 2 quick goals. We're seeing the traits of the premiership team as they take a very handy 14-point lead in the Norm Smith medalist. Shows us how again.
It's interesting, they've had a couple of good looks in this quarter going forward, but the last couple of goals they've kicked have been from ground balls, just up for grabs where they've been able to feed a hand pass out and someone's been able to snap it. He was about to get pinged for holding the ball, Cam Rayner. He fended 7 players off, but he was still able to get the ball out. You can see the hand pass come back and off one step. That's another great finish.
14 tackles in their forward 50. It's just builds pressure. You know, the front half game that the Western Bulldogs had in that first quarter has now been flipped on its head a bit. Some of this ruck work in the middle of the ground too. They've got some really good looks, the Lions.
3 goals to 1 the Lions' way in this term. Fletcher rushes from half back. Cameron couldn't hang on to the mark. Sanders spins his way into Cameron, who dispossessed him and wins holding the ball.
Another one.
Tackle your way through July, Gaz.
It's starting to really hit its mark here.
Charlie steering pass, couldn't get it to Lohmann. Big lob in the way. But where to? Given the hurry up. Checks the kick, did it pretty well for English.
Just what our eyes are telling us, pressure is high. 2:14 for the Brisbane Lions, 2:05 for the Dogs.
English looking for the short target. He finds Garcia.
Yeah, just trying to take a little bit of heat out of it here, the Doggies, just by slowing things down. But they don't really look inside, do they? Like the Lions. They're much more predictable down the line here.
Norton forms up with Gardner. It clears them west, looking for something going by. Gives a little bit of ground to Williams. Found a step of space. He used it pretty well. Davidson got it going goal side with Ashcroft, though. And Levi Ashcroft is doing the goaltending. He uses Fletcher, steers the pass well, and Gardner with a chance to set them.
Yeah, good composure. Just able to maintain possession. A couple of short passes. That's not good composure.
Tap back by Norton. Bontempelli, Davidson, he had a runner on the outside, screws it to the square. Starcevic, sound as ever, takes the mark, look on the horizon, and he thought there was too much risk in all of that. Hard running to space from Dunkley, always doing the team thing. Well done to be disrupted by Fraser. Traces of brilliance in all that he does when you're not expecting them for the 19-year-old. Dunkley already playing plenty of tackles. The 13 last week from 18 attempts. Claggage on the move. Fletcher helps him out but gives it straight back. Sanders to Kennedy. Bontempelli challenged by Rayner. And he realised there was no getting out of it. Survived the tackle but only just. And Dale doesn't really. And the crowd warming to exactly what you're seeing and talking about, Gary and Jason.
That is good tackle pressure. You see the reaction from Guy Lohmann after that one. Just finishing off a series of tackles, pumping up his teammates.
Bontempelli spilled it away. McCluggage and Levi Ashcroft combined. Got to make a contest. Lob ran into his own man. Cameron worked off it. Hipwood trying to barge his way through. Lob ended up with it. Around he went in the tackle. Fort put his head over the ball and won it right back. But he kicked it straight to O'Donnell. Spilt it. Had time to release. And Dale's got the outlet kick to Kennedy. So how are the Dogs going to find a way? Create some meaningful chains forwards. Kennedy into a pack. They all reach up. Neale, hand passed in close. Gardner.
Well, the beauty of this is the number one scoring team in the competition, and this is what Chris Fagan will be looking at. They've kept it to 3 goals. 3 goals, 1 in actual fact. 4 scoring shots.
Holding Bulldogs. Bulldogs. Time back run.
Free kick goes Darcy's way.
Aaron Norton's got to try and find a way to impose himself. Had very little impact on the game so far. Just the one touch.
The kick is going in his direction. So Norton's been held out of it.
Yeah, there wasn't much in it, but he put his arms around his waist for a brief second just to retard him. That's a gift. Darcy Gardner's given away.
Yeah, well, he didn't need to do it, did he? Look at the support he had aerially there. So you got Berry in front. You got Harris Andrews with support. So just a bit of panic, been really quiet. He competes. He's having a crack, but just hasn't been able to find any footy. Has to take the chance, Jace. 3 goals, 1. A little bit of momentum going the other way. 3 of the last 4 goals.
Back to
the last 5.
5 goal bags. And he sneaks this home. Aaron Norton. The Dogs needed it against the flow.
Sorry, Jared. Yeah, they kicked 4 of the last 5, the Brisbane Lions, and it was just starting to look like a Brisbane Lions game for not over the whole ground, Jace, but just on occasion it opened up and you looked at it and went, wow, if it goes this way, they're going to really struggle to get back in. His form's been good in recent times.
Well, this was the night we first got the feel for it, wasn't it, really? The 3 goals he kicked against Sydney and then 5 against North Melbourne as it followed through. And then last week against the Adelaide Crows, particularly in the first half, 5 big goals for Aaron Norton. Suddenly found some form and adds an extra dimension to this Bulldogs forward line with Darcy back and when it's fully functioning. And for all that we've lauded the Lions, the margin is only 8 points.
It came at exactly the right time for the Doggies.
For rucking, it's Rayner roving. Tried to handball it forward to Neale. Scraped out of there, reveal, darting off the wing, back to Neale. Reflex handball, good, Fort. And they're inside again. Spoils are made from Morris. Dunkley, Jones tackled Lohmann. Wouldn't want to hold on any longer. Lohmann spinning and scrapping into the post. He's not far away, is he, Kylo?
It's interesting. Bontempelli's gone to the bench. And so Dunkley now went and rested forward then, which I love that. That's aggressive. And he picked that up beautifully and almost set up a goal.
As the pickup was something to behold. And not far away. Johannesson takes off, makes it up on the fly, kicks it long. Darcy just removed Fort from the pack and took a strong mark.
Gee, that was good body work. He just leant on him.
And committed to the long kick up the line. So Norton has to set himself for a fly. Gardner made the spoil. Ball to be won underneath. Rayner stripped of it by Liberatore. Starcevic stripped of it by Richard. Starcevic won it back. Clever tap. Hipwood released Fletcher into open space. Berry has a look. He could go himself and he'll ram it through for a goal. The deft touch in the middle set the play up. And Brisbane were untouchable from there.
It was a great touch in the middle, you're right, Jared. It was also a really good spoil at half-back. Those big spoils that clear the crummers give the other players further afield a chance to come and get involved, and that's what happened. Here's the big fist, and it clears the Bulldogs' crummers. And then you've got some Lions players coming through the middle. Still a little bit scrappy. Some good work from Starcevic to get it forward, and then that little tap from Hipwood. That was a sublime tap. And then it's just decision time for Jared Berry. He's got a chip over the top to Charlie Cameron if he wants it. But he's running straight at the target, staring the goals down, and he knows he can finish. Took the responsibility and kicked the goal. I'd like to see players do that.
5 coaches' votes last week. Boarding school with Hugh McCluggage. Great mates from their time at boarding school in Ballarat. They particularly enjoy kicking a goal in McCluggage's 200th. That's high on Ashcroft.
Yeah. So challenges on here for the Dogs. They've got to try and find a way to stop them finding the sort of space that they are at the minute.
Fort Morris and Lohmann. They're the targets for Fletcher's kick. Spoil made by Jones. Sanders and Berry consider the approach. A handball from Sanders, the best he could muster. Richards had the guts to kick it off the ground. No, but he couldn't control it fully. Liberatore and Richards kept on coming. One of their real weapons. Skims one off the wing. Beyond Darcy, but not beyond Wilmont. Into the handball and already wanted it back again. Through the centre circles and a driving ball for Ford. Placed just outside the 50. The leads came. He's given it a bit too much air. Not ideal supply. Bramble went to work. Eventually it worked back to Berry though. And Fort, they'll try again. Reveal into the pocket. Logan! Not quite for Kai. But an easy goal for Levi. And that is a pair of Levi goals. And the Lions again assert their authority. Although
No, strike it out.
Free kick.
didn't even get did the DJ start his song or not?
No, he was ahead of us.
He was on the job. Lob clears it to Williams.
That's the big escape for the Dogs. Now can they craft something themselves? Williams puts it out in front of Vandermeer. Had the drop on Wilmont that time.
Oh, he has to keep
Going to Darcy. Put it in board. Garcia has to keep going. Got away from Zorko and got tagged. What ankle tagged.
It's hit in a snapshot there though. This is the Western Bulldogs versus the Lions. Now he goes and Darcy's covered.
He's got the boot in the face, Zorko.
Up to the big pack. Off hands. Dunkley working in defence now. Starcevic overwhelmed by Davidson.
So he had to go when he took the mark. Was it Garcia that had the ball?
I don't know, blood rule here for Zorko. I think the boot's been dragged across the face.
Yeah.
Well, that's the claret running down above that left eye.
Yeah, a few stitches required from Dane Zorko, you'd imagine. After that big leap from Kai Lohmann as well. He limped from the ground, it looks like a left calf.
Oh, there's that boot being dragged across the head.
It's been in the spotlight boots in recent times. Suggesting for a second that he's
That's the throw. That's the throw.
Yeah, that's a free kick at the other end of the ground that was correctly picked up by the umpire. So well done to them. It's a great pick-up. But I just find that, half-time's almost upon us. I think if Sam Darcy can talk to his midfield group is to go quicker. Don't be so conservative when you get into footy forward, to centre particularly. Go quick.
We talk about how close Kai Lohmann is. He nearly took another hanger.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous how close he is. It's got to happen soon.
So back to the Dogs inside 50 in search of a goal to narrow the deficit. Ray held up.
It's a massive 2-goal turnaround if they can find something here. And you take momentum into half-time.
A lot happening off the ball. Kennedy dragged off it by Dunkley. Lester had to get it to his boot, at least a brush.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough because he had to jump over a bloke that was standing at his feet. And he tried to kick it.
You didn't touch it. No prior. You had a prior.
Well, he had to jump the bloke to kick it, though. How can you say you should have done something else?
Well, I don't have an issue with this one. He elected to go around. He elected to go over.
Well, he had to. He couldn't kick where he was.
That doesn't mean you get a free lash.
They should have hand passed it.
Yeah.
Riley Garcia for this 2-goal swing to bring the Dogs back into it. His kick stays on target. Back to single figures.
Oh, there's your 2-goal swing, Jace.
Yeah, that's it.
So both decisions were correct. One at the other end, no one's arguing that. The throw was definitely there. Brisbane Lion fans might have seen it yet, so they're not happy. But this one up the other end, you got options. So Dunkley said, what about that? He said no prior opportunity to Kennedy. That's what Dunkley asked the umpire about. But then he went to Leicester and said, you had prior. You elected to jump. And that's why the free kick's been paid.
That's tough.
It is tough. But it's a really important goal because if it got out to 15 points, we thought it was
Keep your eye here on Tom Liberatore.
Yeah, just put down. A little bit of high contact with Ashcroft.
That'll be looked at. That'll be one that they'll cast their eye over.
We'll see that again, I'm sure. Garcia, his 3rd game this year. Forced his way in, holding his spot for now. Puts them back within 9. Kennedy coming off the square. Rayner, Bontempelli, Johannisen. He's a long kick, so he gets it into Norton and Gardner. Almost beat him in the air. Good work, Gardner, though, to Wilmont. Disrupted Dunkley, just smashed it. Picked up Johannisen. Bontempelli from 70, tempered the kick. Props in the pocket. English head bobbling, knocked away by McInerney. Fraser and Levi Ashcroft. It's over and out.
So one thing I guess they got in the back of their mind, both sides, is the ability of this Western Bulldogs team to score. They don't have an issue. They can score when they get on a roll. They're within touching distance again.
English to the front, on the move, Bontempelli. Back out to Davidson. Plants the foot and realises he could have got it deeper. Sets it, there's no genuine flyers there. Williams made the best fist of it. Andrews, Williams goes again. This is Darcy now, streaming through, found a mate. It was Fraser. High ball, it's all Brisbane. Taking good care back there is Lachie Neale on the last one.
Fletcher's the short target. Near the goal mouth. Gardner.
Just pressing the Dogs, Jared. The Brisbane Lions is professionally taking a bit of heat out of it. 3 minutes to go. No undue risk.
Starcevic and Andrews, some inexperienced hands. Sends Leicester on his way. So they've cleared the area well. Now to set something up. Archie across the front, controlled it well. Couldn't get the hand pass that he wanted, and he'll get knocked off holding the ball. Garcia claimed the advantage to O'Donnell, who uses it quickly. Sanders tumbles back with it.
Time back on, play on.
Brings it inboard to Dale, who wouldn't be without a hope, to the unguarded goal front and into the posts.
This has been their best 5 minutes here. They're starting to look dangerous, Jace. They're starting to look like an offensive threat where for much of the first quarter and a half they'd barely been able to get any flow going.
4 goals, 2-3-1 for the turn. Oh, reconsidered a couple of times, Wilmont. He's confused. Wow, given enormous latitude.
He nearly got the 50-metre arc.
And Zorko's had an eventful night. Repairs up the top and right down on the feet as well, on the ankle. Kicks along that wing. Equal numbers in the air. Dogs first play underneath Kennedy. Knew where the help was. Clear in the dab hand into the middle of Fraser. Johannisen had a run up, but he too just edits the kick. Short to Williams. Hard lateral running here.
More like it, Hunter.
Bailey Dale, it is. Who stands and doesn't drive long because Norton was a realistic moving target up to the footy. It's going to be a testing kick, though.
That's much more like the dangerous version of the Western Bulldogs that opposition clubs don't like to play. It's ball in motion, constant movement, hitting targets, running into space. I tell you what, if he kicks this, closing the gap,
14
points.
14 possessions for Bailey Dale. He just continues to run wherever he wants to, unguarded.
3 goals, 1 last time against the Lions. 5 games for 7 goals here at the Gabba. The form he's in, giving him a chance from there. We've taken his very best conversion, though.
Turned around from the Lions. Neale, Zorko, Wilmont. It's not neat. Had to squeeze the hand pass away. Dunkley and Neale. So they're just searching for a safe target. Neale is able to find that with expansive kick across the face of goal. Fletcher remounts the attack. Levi Ashcroft to Leicester on a nice angle. Delivers sprightly to half forward. Archie turns and goes. He wants Cameron. It's beautifully weighted. Couldn't haul it in. Hipwood's there to lend a hand. Doesn't have it. English under pressure. Quick away. Sanders, Richards, Cleary, and now Dale. Dogs trying to get through. The kick, it got battered down brilliantly. Gardner did his job. The Lions have it again. Fletcher and Levi Ashcroft shoots it around to Archie, looking for the right target. Hipwood goes back, lob comes up, Cameron kept it alive, and Will Ashcroft finishes the job.
Charlie Cameron.
Don't they have the deft touch? And that is a critical goal on the way to half-time.
I haven't seen that much transition from one end to the other. If he had have taken the original mark from Charlie Cameron, it would have been the best passenger player I reckon we've seen tonight, the way they transitioned it. But then they created the turnover, thanks to that Darcy Gardner spoil. That was brilliant. And then they had the numbers again. It was just about staying composed, kicking to the advantage. And it probably isn't when you kick in the air to lob, but Hipwood's able to come back and make the spoil. And then a beautiful little touch from Charlie Cameron finds Ashcroft.
Charlie Cameron, exquisite. Contest from Eric Hipwood, undervalued. He just gets back hard and it gets the 2-on-1. Charlie was with Lob. Lob comes off and then he ends up just setting it up. So nearly against the flow for the last 5 minutes.
Second goal of the night for Will Ashcroft. Hasn't been a big goal kicker, but most of them, the ones he kicks, are pretty memorable. 9 goals for the season now. He's always adding to his game. The Bulldogs against the clock. Bontempelli. West has looked as likely as anyone, but he drops the mark. And to add to his frustration, the siren sounds. And so the Lions have a 13-point lead, and the frustrations are seen and felt in the coach's box as well with Luke Beveridge.
The swings and roundabouts in that, Hutto, is Levi Ashcroft might have made it 21, and that gave the Bulldogs their best look. They missed 2 extra shots. They get to 7 and should have been closer, and they just get pushed away with the Will Ashcroft goal.
As it is, the margin is 13 points, plenty coming up. And let's go to our panel back in the studio, led by Kath Lockman.
Thank you, Hutto. Yes, welcome to Friday Night Footy on Fox, brought to you by Industry Super Funds. When it comes to super, there's only one symbol to look for. Nathan Buckley, Jordan Lewis, contested wet weather style footy in the first quarter. Well, it's opened up in this second quarter.
Geez, the Lions, some of their passengers are playing that second quarter razzle dazzle. They just look like just their guns everywhere, and it just looks like the momentum and the bullocking play that we saw in their front half as that quarter continued just overwhelmed the Bulldogs back half. But it's not as if the Bulldogs aren't having a crack. It's just the Lions, whatever the Bulldogs throw at them, the Lions are beating.
Yeah, both had their opportunities, 26 inside 50s apiece. That's what you get with quality sides and quality defences to really challenge going inside forward 50. I think you're right. I thought the cleanliness, especially when it was wet, Brisbane were awesome below the knees and being able to chain through handball. It looked like the game was going to get away from the Dogs in the early part of that quarter. I thought they responded beautifully.
There were some moments there where you look at Lachie Neale and his clean hands and go, oh yeah, that's why he's won 2 Brownlow medals.
Yeah, but it's also the Lachie Neale effect as well, because the Ashcrofts are picking up off the back of his craft and the work that he does on it. So one thing that Bevo did mention in the pre-match was the pressure factor from last week, and saying that he wasn't as happy with their contested work and their tackling efforts. They tackled 27, they sucked 27 of 30 tackle efforts in the first quarter, and the pressure factor was through the roof. And it was a real arm wrestle in that first quarter. When we fast forward to the early part of the second quarter, when the Lions were able to gain some ascendancy, they owned field position, they started winning that arm wrestle. To their credit, the Dogs came back towards the end of that second quarter. Tackle efficiency not quite as good, but Bevo would have been happy with the early stages, but Lions Bay just been able to buffer.
I think there would have been a conversation at quarter time to say longer handballs because the pressure that the Dogs were creating was so immense, which was allowing them to turn over. I think one of the things that we put on the table pre-game was Brisbane's ability to move the ball out of half-back and be really aggressive, which is the way that they moved the ball. So they haven't had many opportunities tonight, mainly due to the weather, but this could possibly be the kick of the year. I know Zorko does it a lot, but for the risk to take to bring the ball back inside the corridor with 3 Bulldogs players in front, and Zorko had his time. He went off for a foot injury, but you could just tell as soon as he came back on, he was the one that really drives that momentum from half-back. They've scored 3 goals from half-back, so that's been a really big positive. But he's had the blood rule. He's been off with a foot injury. Certainly when he's off, it looks like they miss that aggression off half-back.
Those highlights, thanks to Harvey Norman, you could sense Chris Fagan's frustration for a number of reasons, but when Zorko was off, and that kick highlights exactly why he would have been frustrated. Let's move on to one play early in the second quarter you wanted to highlight, Bucks. There's a bit of a turning point. It begins with Cam Rayner.
Yeah, we spoke about Cam Rayner, but this particular tackle and just that aggression there to drive Williams into the deck, and then he's just sweating on this one. Oscar McInerney, who was huge in that second quarter, just a little chat, little handball, and Rayner off a quarter of a step, not even half a step. But then after that particular bit of play, I just thought the Lions forwards just started going to work. Lohmann was dangerous. Will and Levi Ashcroft have both hit the scoreboard, and they were just dominant. Morris looked dangerous. Hitwood with some really nice touches. A nice little hit on there to Fletcher off screen before Berry was able to finish there. So the Lions really got going to work, but I thought that just bit of aggression from Rayner just really kick-started them.
It's funny how you get yourself in a game. I mean, Rayner only had one possession in the first quarter, so it's interesting. After that tackle, he looked like he was in the game, so it was it was a good start to the game. So this is the second quarter response, which would please Chris Fagan, and it was mainly the first 10 to 15 minutes of that second quarter where they had this dominance, and then to the Dogs' credit, they were able to wrestle that back.
I was just about to say that, but in saying that, Luke Beveridge would be happy, and that graphic before showed it, their pressure increased midway through that second quarter, because at times it looked like Brisbane were opening the game up and going.
And I think that will be this game. I mean, you will have periods of momentum. You'll have periods where your pressure is high and you're in the game, and it's about one side being able to maximise that, and two, when you haven't got it, trying to limit the opposition to their damage.
One matchup that has been interesting has been Riley West and Brandon Starcevich. Starcevich actually the highest rated player on the ground, but West has kicked 2 goals. This was one early in the first quarter. There's a free kick to Darcy. Starcevich having to throw it back, and West is just off. He goes, right, I'm going to see if I can put 10 or 15 metres on you. Starcevich tried to catch him, bit of a handover here with Zorko, and Zorko probably not as interested in defending, and then that leg rope was a little bit bigger there. Really good ground level pick up here, but Starcevich has been huge. Intercept possessions, and just done the role real well there. But West with 2 goals to his name wouldn't be disappointed either. But we'll keep an eye on that in a second.
The other thing, the goals have come from the smalls. Only English is the only one that's the tall. He's kicked 1 goal. The rest of the
missed
goals,
a couple of shots.
Missed it, but the 11 of the 12 have come from the smalls.
Not going to lie, I was a little bit worried about this game when we came on for the pre-game coverage, and it was bucketing at the Gabba, but it's become so intriguing, and looks like it's clearing up as the night goes on. Well, if you're wondering why Jonathan Brown isn't here tonight, it's because he's in Vegas. He's on a work trip. I kid you not, it is actually a work trip. He's there for main event Sundays at Bout, featuring Tim Zoo, our very own Tim Zoo, against Sebastian Fundora, and you can order it now via that.
All right, while we're waiting for the commentators to come back, David, hey, down, welcome in. Of course, good to see you. Who else was in here? Jihan, how you doing? Of course, Lucky was in here also earlier on. There we go. Hey, I tell you what, that's the line, 7-4. 46, they're leading the Bulldogs at half-time, 5-3-33. 13-point margin here to the Brisbane Lions. The Brisbane Lions did look the better team in that second term. They just looked have a little bit more structure about them. The Bulldogs aren't able to get that quick run like they usually do, get that flow on from deep 50 to forward 50. They're just not seeing that happen. Brisbane do look a little bit more dangerous. Getting on their bike, look, I think Brisbane's pressure in that second term was pretty good. Bulldogs' pressure dropped off a little bit in that second term. You just can't drop the pressure, especially when you're playing another good opposition. They'll tear you apart. It's not like playing one of the lower teams. You were saying about can the Brisbane Lions or the Bulldogs make the finals this year? Well, they certainly can. Both of them can certainly play. That is the live ladder. Let's just turn the live ladder off for you because you're asking about it. So there we go. That's what we're talking about. Brisbane are sitting second on the ladder here on 50 points. They're only half a game clear because they did have that draw. They've had 12 wins, 4 losses and 1 draw. Half a game clear. So Brisbane need to win tonight to remain in second spot. If they do lose, well, they're still in second spot, but the games coming up over the weekend, you've got Adelaide Crows, the Giants. They are both only half a game. So if they win and Brisbane lose, they'll go above them. And, of course, you've got teams like Geelong, Gold Coast Suns. If they win, they could also jump above Brisbane. So worst things for worst for the Brisbane Lions, if they lose tonight, they could end up back down there in about, they could actually end up down there in 7th position. No, they can't. 4th position. They'll end up in 4th if things don't go right for them because they do have that half a game and a half clear of 5th, but just a half a game clear of 3rd and 4th. So if Brisbane lose tonight and Adelaide and the Giants win on the weekend, although I do think, correct me if I'm wrong, Giants, the GWS Giants played last night, so they've already played. So the worst the Brisbane's can end up is down there in 3rd. But that being said, Adelaide are going to play the Gold Coast Suns. So it's going to be a tough match. For the Western Bulldogs, though, they're sitting down there in 9th. They really need to win this game. Because it's going to look like, well, Geelong should win their match. Gold Coast Suns are going to have a tough match against Adelaide. That can go any way. You would think Hawthorn should get the chocolates over Port Adelaide. Fremantle might struggle. Fremantle are playing the top team, Collingwood. So it's for sure, Western Bulldogs, Brisbane, they're big chances for the finals this year. All right, let's just duck over and have a little bit of a look at the goal scorers. Addy G. Addy G loves that, being a Fremantle supporter. They're still in 8th spot. So Adrian is definitely cheering on Brisbane to win this game tonight. So it doesn't matter when the Pies beat Freo. But I tell you what, if Brisbane win this game and Freo beat Collingwood, Fremantle could be on track for finals. Chaos for the Lions if they... I tell you what, it could be. It could be, because I really do think Geelong will end up second on the ladder. I think Geelong's going to win every match. Geelong play every team outside of the top 8. So I think they're going to be mighty hard to stop from at least second position Geelong. Brisbane might go on and win every game up until the finals, but I think they've still got a couple of tough games to come ahead. That being said, it's going to be really, really interesting the next 2 to 3 weeks. It'll probably come down to even the last round to actually sort out the ladder and see what's going to happen. But we have a look at the goal scorers so far. Riley West actually doesn't look too bad there for the Bulldogs. He's only had the 4 touches, though, 3 kicks, but he has kicked 2 important goals there for the Western Bulldogs. Aaron Norton, a bit slower in that second term. They sort of had his measure a little bit. He's just had the 3 kicks for 1 goal, 1. Riley Garcia, Tim English, both singles there for the Bulldogs. Whereas for the Brisbane Lions, Will Ashcroft, tell you what, he kicked a nice couple too. He's had the 15 disposals. He's looking dangerous. 3 clearances. Hard to stop. Cam Rayner, the raging bull, it's a bit like that when he's charging through the pack. 6 disposals. He kicked 1 goal. Kai Lohmann's also kicked 1 with Charlie Handlebars Cameron, Jared Berry, and Levi Ashcroft are the other ones. Fremantle sounds like a sci-fi show. They are a little bit. You're meant to say Freo will beat the Pies? Hey, you know what? Anything is possible in football. Anything is possible. We know that in football, any team on their given day is a possibility of beating the other. Well, probably except Essendon at the moment. Maybe except Essendon. I was going to say Richmond or West Coast, but I tell you what, Richmond West Coast are going to be a fantastic game. I'm going to do the Richmond West Coast game Sunday, Eddie, because I prefer to do that than Carlton Melbourne. I think that West Coast Richmond is going to be a real interesting game. I think it's going to be an interesting game. There we go. Leading to disposal, get out on the ground. Bailey Dale leading the way. For the Dogs, Pies sound pretty good. Hey, David, Collingwood, the Magpies, yeah, they're definitely the best team in the competition. That's my team. And if you don't follow a team, I tell you what, that's who you should follow as well. Paxton Walker, shout out, up the Lions. Tell you what, the Lions are looking good, especially in that second term. I thought that first term it was pretty even, pretty even though I thought the Bulldogs may have just been 2% on top, but I definitely think the Lions came out better, definitely in the second quarter. And I'll tell you what, the thing with the Lions, they just don't give up. They're always giving it a crack, chasing hard and putting it in there. They've just got a fantastic team with experience and a will to fight, will to win. And yeah, they can break other teams occasionally. Western Bulldogs, a lot of their players are down at the moment. As we see, Bailey Dale, though, tops the table with 16, 14 kicks, 2 handballs. He's had 3 clearances. Will Ashcroft, as I said, he's doing it well there for the Brisbane Lions on 15. 9 and 6, 3 tackles, 3 clearances. He's kicked 2 sausage rolls, so he's going all right. Marcus Bontempelli, next best on 14. But I tell you what, from my eye, the Bont isn't really having the impact that he really needs to in this game. Lions could win it all or lose it all. They certainly could. Well, Brisbane Lions, they won it last year and then they were defeated the year before by Collingwood. So, you know, they've been on a good run for 2 or 3 years now, Brisbane Lions. But the Bont needs to lift. I tell you what, there's a few players for the Western Bulldogs. They really need to lift if they're going to have any thoughts of toppling Brisbane here this evening. And the Bont is one. Sam Darcy is the other, of course. And there was probably another one. I just can't remember at the moment. But there we go. Lachie Neale playing his usual honest game there for Brisbane. 13 touches, 3 clearances. Darcy Wilmont on 12. Hugh McCluggage, the milestone man, 200th game this evening of AFL football. Just the 12 touches for him. He's just doing his thing. He's not really taking the game apart, but he's just playing his role. Nice little 12 touches, 3 clearances. There we go. Bailey Williams on 11 with Ed Richards. Ed Richards needs to lift a little bit as well. I think the target's down forward for the Bulldogs. They're just lacking. They haven't really got any dominant force down there at the moment. I know they're trying to. They sort of played Norton and West down forward. That sort of wasn't too bad, but I think they need to take another big tool down there. Maybe take Darcy back down there, play him back down forward, and see if they can do that, or even put Bont down forward. Let's get that little bit of class back down there. The second tall. See how that goes from Josh Dunkley, Levi West, Ashcroft, both on 10 there for Brisbane. Of course, Starcevich doing a good job there. Tom Liberatore a little bit quieter in that second term. He's another fantastic in and under scrappy player. 9 touches, 4 clearances. So getting his hands on the pill a little bit. Just need to do a little bit more. Dane Zorko, I tell you what, he was in the battles today with that rolled ankle or foot, and then he copped a boot in the head. That's what happens when you try to leg a bloke. The boot scuffed his head. Come off with a bit of claret dripping down his face. There we go. Kyle Lohmann, 1 goal, 1 from his 8 touches, 4 kicks. Sam Darcy, as I said, he needs to do a lot more. When Sam Darcy is on fire, it's like the Dogs are on fire. He's only had the 8 touches, 4 and 4, 1 clearance. No score. I'll tell you what, the Brisbane Lions will be very, very happy with that at the moment. Going down there, the big man, Oscar McInerney. Tell you what, he's a stalwart of the Brisbane Lions, isn't he? 6 touches, 18 hitouts and 1 clearance of the big man. You got to like him. You got to like him. There we go. Tim English, he's opposing ruckman, just the 5 touches. He's kicked a goal though. He's had 14 hitouts and 1 clearance as well. Riley West, looking pretty sharp out there at the moment, although he's only had the 4 touches. Did kick a beautiful goal in company with Norton. So that was a fantastic goal from the Bulldogs in that middle part of that second term. So want him up and running as well. And of course, we want Norton to grab the ball a little bit more. He's just getting a little bit towed up in that second term. He's just had the 3 touches, 3 kicks, 1 goal, 1. That being said, there's a couple for Brisbane that are a little bit quiet as well. And that's Eric Hipwood. Hasn't done much down there forward for the Brisbane Lions. You go for Penrith too. There we go. Beautiful. You're going for Penrith. And the Penrith Panthers, I tell you what, they were doing good, weren't they? 18 zip at half time. South Sydney Rabbitohs back, they scored a try. And of course, it's 18-6. Penrith Panthers leading South Sydney Rabbitohs, 48-minute mark in the second half over there in the NRL. Good on you, Paxton. Yeah, you know what? I don't mind doing the NRL now. I just put that up as well, so it gives some folks a bit of a chance to go and have a chat in the live chat over there on that one and listen to the fantastic game. Of course, we go for Melbourne Storm down here, down in Victoria. I think that's the only team we've got there. They're going not too bad, but good luck to the Penrith Panthers. I tell you what, I watched the game before, and that was a fantastic game. So hopefully you're enjoying the Penrith Panthers doing great against the Rabbitohs up there this evening. All right, that is, hey, let's just have a quick glance at the team stats. Let me just reload this because we're going to head back down to the ground in just a second. Disposal count, look, is pretty even. There's only 12 the difference by the Lions. Inside 50s, both teams getting their chances. As I said earlier, who takes their chances are going to win this game. 26 apiece. Free kicks, +4 to the Western Bulldogs. Umpires enjoying the whistle. Of course, clearances 22-18. The Dogs there by 4. All right, that's enough of me for talking just for the moment. Let's head on back down to the action for the third quarter. Where's the Lions by 13 points?
I think that would have huge impact, just the one score involvement so far.
Yeah, I mean, he and Dunkley have been going at it, not aggressively going at it, but you wouldn't say both or either of them have had a really good same proceedings, which can change in a heartbeat with Bontempelli, we know that. So it's set. It's really evenly poised. These two have been at it since that first fish pump of yours.
He loves to push, although he's pushing with less intensity this week. Not making anyone hard enough to collapse anything.
Sarah reference of Geelong, the Gold Coast, Hawthorn and Freo all win. Only 2 of them are favourites. The Dogs would be 2 games, 8 points adrift with only 5 to play. So there is so much on the line as the third quarter begins with an English tap and a Neale and Dunkley collaboration. A bit of help from Rayner and a kick from McCluggage. Gets them to Lohmann, reaching over the top. Cameron, looking more and more like it at the moment. Bramble, chock full of confidence that he could get and survive the tackle. Out to Lob now, with help from Sanders. There's carry on the kick. It got over Berry. Williams. Berry can come back to the foot. He can look ahead to goal, but decides to play it back, and that's Dunkley. And Lohmann couldn't quite handle. It was an awkward ball as we saw McCluggage laid it off. Hipwood off the right boot to the line. Charlie in front. Levi Ashcroft again. Wow. This time he has kicked his second goal. And they might be snapping their way to victory tonight, the Lions. That is 5 goals, 1 from snaps. And they take a 19-point lead, and the Ashcroft brothers both have 2.
Well, he stood next to Riley Sanders at the start of this game, and the 2 of them embraced. And from that point forward, Sanders hasn't really been able to stop him when he pushes forward. He still finds footy through the middle of the ground, Sanders, but he's looked so dangerous. So he's got 2, should have 3, and that's a fair return. 5 or 2 minutes into the third quarter from playing the wing, Chief.
Well, Sanders is right there, Gaz, and he just pushes him off. He just nudges him. He gets caught up in the traffic, while Ashcroft just runs to the loose ball and kicks another goal. Kai Lohmann got his hands to another one, almost to mark. It would have been probably a certain goal. He is so close to breaking out.
In a week in which the father and son has been hotly debated again as the Ashcrofts are having their way. Liberatore out of the middle. No follow-up, though. Hand pass picked off. Liberatore gives the Dogs another look out in front of Norton. Gardner worked him underneath it. Levi's working in defence as well. Gardner went back and won a hard ball. Not a great hand pass, though. Liberatore, West, popped it into the jam. Levi worked his opponent underneath and opened the way. Neale, Rayner, Gardner and Rayner to get the Lions out of half-back. Lohmann worked his way to the front. He won't quite get there. McCluggage got his way. Bit of a blow On Lohmann as well, who's a bit slow to rise. Sanders, Dale, Kennedy and Dale trying to find their way through the matrix, and they do, the Dogs. Garcia stabs it for Darcy, couldn't hang on. Zorko in the tackle, released the footy. Starcevic piles in, that's where it ends.
Friendly fire. There's not that Levi Ashcroft will be thinking about it. There's a damn rising star up for grabs, and a big night tonight is going to help his cause.
An impressive McCluggage back through the middle. Host of Lions working together. Archie. Cameron going one way and Hipwood the other. Hipwood the tap. Cameron now got the remnants, and they're deep again. Morris versus Long. Morris.
The kick's quite extraordinary here.
Yep.
He just took off Morris and he had to get boundary side of lob to get on the end of the kick. And Charlie Cameron had enough faith and confidence that he was going to get there. He put it exactly where it needed to be. It was an exquisite kick.
His kicking a goal tonight has been un-Logan-like. His numbers this year, 33 goals, 12. His third shot here.
He better take off.
You can see what he has to deal with. And again, it floats and misses everything.
Yeah, uncharacteristically bad night in front of the sticks for Logan Morris, but he moves well. He's athletic, the way he can make ground when he needs to.
That wasn't great from the Dogs. Johannison looking for the relieving kick. Needs to cover a bit of territory. Darcy put a couple of big strides in. Knocked away by Andrews. Neale got rid of Bontempelli and ended up with the footy. He hoiks it up across the face. Pitches and goes through from behind.
He's playing Sam Darcy very well, Harris Andrews. He's been there every step of the way. With the toughest defensive job in footy almost, and he's doing it really well.
English back through the middle, but they turn it over again. McInerney this time. In front was Dale, a short pair of hands, if you can call it a juggle. A short pair of hands. He didn't panic. Off to Liberatore. Through the corridor, straight to Darcy. Was the go-to man. What's he got ahead? That's the question. Williams running hard down for the wing. Takes the mark. Kennedy was there for an age. And he presented in the right spot, and they couldn't cover up on that occasion, the Lions.
Well, that's an awesome result. Just after giving Harris Andrews a big pump up, he let Darcy go and then wasn't able to come back and impact this contest. So once you let your opponent go up the ground, you must get back and impact the 2-on-1. And he floated straight past Williams, who was then able to get it on.
Just the 6 disposals last week, but 19 goals for is the bottom line. The damage he's done in front of goal. Starts it out to the right, but it works back. Hence the reaction from Matt Kennedy. And the Bulldogs, as they have through the night, have kicked crucial goals. Just when the Lions look like they're going to put their foot down, it's back to 14.
It's been a pattern, hasn't it? Just that crucial goal to stay in touch when it looks like the elastic's about to break. They find a way just to keep it within basically 10 or 15 points.
Well, is this the more expansive look that we're after here? Just go. You can't go back over the line here. Take the corridor on. Be prepared to take a risk on the way through. So this kick here, bang, that's turnover city if you don't get that right with Sam Darcy. And the kick's good enough, Darcy then gets it on. So maybe we're just seeing a little glimpse of a more aggressive Western Bulldogs team. 5 goals, 3 up to that stage isn't winning this game. They've got to get on the board and got to be more aggressive with their ball movement. Maybe that's a snapshot.
Back to 14 points. English tapped it down to Dunkley though. Up inside 50. Johannison used his positioning well and rolls immediately. Put it into the hands of Dale, the best hands there are. He moved, he heard the umpire's call, and as a result, to stab up the lines, a rare turnover. So Berry and Dunkley combine. Dunkley held up. But he did use Andrews and Zorko. It's the most aggressive kick you can find.
17 dogs in 18 dogs in defensive half.
Zorko chances his arm up inside the 50. Brilliant Mark O'Donnell.
That's a serious mark. He's unbelievable talent.
There's intercept marks and there's intercept marks. That's serious, isn't it? Yep.
So O'Donnell clears the defensive area for the Dogs. And the Leapers, this time Leicester. With a kick to kick.
So So they're all in. Everyone's within a kick of the ball at the moment, so they can't get the freedom that they were looking for earlier.
Who can take the mark this time? Morris was reaching up from behind. Berry released it. McCluggage stripped to the footy. He's still in the area, still in the vicinity. Not able to get it.
Maybe on that occasion, you've got to give credit to there's the great mark from O'Donnell, the credit to the Western Bulldogs, because earlier Dale wanted to swing and go quick. They were able to close down some exits.
Jones was trying to spoil him as well. Couldn't help. Underneath the numbers in the hair. It's going to be another ball up. Kennedy and Liberatore, the tacklers. Wants them to go at it again. Bontempelli didn't take possession. He knew he had Richards in the right spot. Clearing kick, Darcy and the wrestle, beaten by Andrews.
It's a good win.
Sharp kick quickly with the instructions from Neale. Rapid fire, Rayner got it under his command and then lags the left footer back to goal. Even his behinds are spectacular.
Just the last 3 or 4 kicks going inside 50.
Rayner?
Yeah, last 3 or 4 inside 50s for the Lions have just been quick kicks without having a look. It's just been pot luck.
So behind him, he's going to be a bit lighter of pocket too.
Yes, if he was on the 4, he'd be in trouble. Oh, well, he'd be just exactly poor.
Zorko swoops for a fresh opportunity. Awkward ball. Bramble didn't quite trap it. Cameron couldn't release.
Dived on it.
He doesn't have the parcel though when the music stops.
That's exactly what you're talking about, Jason. Again, it goes back in 50, just a month going back in.
So Rayner on the fly, straight into the umpire. Tap out the side. Liberatore gave it up. Archie trickles it for a behind.
Well, there was a lot of traffic around that umpire when he went down, so we need to look at that from all angles.
There may have been some dog contact there as well. Have another look at it.
Yeah, I think there was a trip prior to Rayner hitting him.
So Bramble. Cautious approach. Joe Hannison thought about going long. Tried to soften the kick. It's on the bounce to Richards. Any which way, through again from English to Joe Hannison. That's about where it ends. Zorko decides to keep it in. Headed it straight back to Bramble. So the Dogs get it to the wing. And again, it's Darcy and Andrews. And a free kick going the way of the talented young dog.
He just keeps presenting, Hutto. That's what you've got to love about him. He just keeps fronting up.
Out to West, he has Vandermeer, Norton and Sanders ahead. He almost got himself into trouble, good enough to get out. Goes to Norton against 3 Lions, one of them Leicester. Tried to soccer, Bond had second thoughts. Norton's turn to snap, top of the goal square. Mark taken back there by Wilmont. And straight away, he sends it out to Cool Hand Dunkley, who's at half back. And just popping it over the top to Morris.
3 metres back with me.
Jones back on the mark. It's the Lions by 16 now. Rain, lightning pre-game. Plenty of it early in the first quarter. It's cleared away now. Players can show their skills a little more. The game getting more expansive. Fletcher, sharp on the kick. Berry, and the Lions have worked it so far so good. Zorko, Cameron leads hard up to the footy. Can't hang on to the mark. Not easy to clear it though. Stays in the plate as McCluggage claimed. Zorko inside 50 again, just slightly astray.
Pushing hard, Dogs. 228 pressure this turn, Jace, plus 11 tackles. So did Bailey Dale get a little trip? Oh, his foot was there, so he did. And then Cam Rayner finished him off.
A collective fine as everyone chip in.
Split it.
1,200 each.
Yeah.
Pass the hat around. Bontempelli marks the kick in as the Dogs look to break. Fraser sets up. Wilmont overcommitted. Allows the possibilities for the teeth of goal. Vandermeer set himself. It cleared and goes through from behind. They've missed one there.
They can't afford to be wasting opportunities going forward. I'm not sure of the conditions have added to it, but 8 goals to 6 was not what we expected halfway through this third quarter.
Fletcher safely to Neale and then to Levi Ashcroft. Slower play from Brisbane, but they're quite comfortable as we know in this scenario. Fletcher a little further down the line. And then more of the same. Dunkley out to Ashcroft, has to go. Andrews. Archie is there and Rayner if he chooses, but we knew that Archie could do the job now. Eric Hipple just popped in ahead. It was too much to resist. As you see, it doesn't quite arrive. And not the condition he was hoping for anyway. Slung. And holding the ball. Well done, Tim English. So the big Bulldog ruckman double team tonight. Darcy has his ruck support. It's Fortin McInerney. And 15 to Sanders.
Late call.
Yeah, he just got the message, but I'm sure it affected his disposal. Fletcher knew that the bond and the boundary line were both clear.
Fair bounty on the next goal.
Yeah.
22 points would be a game high lead. 10 would put it in the balance.
We've been inside 50 11 times this quarter, the Brisbane Lions, for just a single goal. So they're pressing hard.
From halfway, Fort took a bit of territory. McCluggage into Archie. Will Ashcroft threw it up. Fletcher and Archie just can't winkle the kick forward. So a key smother from Dale, a tackle from English, a smother from Johannesson to keep it all in dispute.
Fletcher limping.
Got to try and get it out here. The Bulldogs. It's living in Brisbane's half too much here.
Fort and English combine again. Slap back boundary side. It sits for Kennedy. Uses Sanders. Double bluff. Brilliantly done. Sanders has a bounce. And then gives it straight. Wilmont had eyes inboard. Just didn't quite trust that they were sufficiently clear. He's desperate to come inside somewhere. And eventually he does. Zorko.
If you wait long enough, you should find someone, and that's the Zorko philosophy. Either getting it or giving it.
And do it twice. Zorko's kick is a poor one inside.
See, their inside 50 entries have been dreadful, in particular in this quarter.
12 insides for goal, Chief.
So many have just been turnover kicks.
It's just degenerating the game to a large degree. Someone's got to lift it up.
Morris. Little pocket. Hard one to defend that for O'Donnell.
Well, he's got to do something he's been unable to do tonight. Logan Morris. Let's get truly.
Can Rayner gets over and has a word to him, or was he getting around there trying to sniff another kick?
They just haven't come off the boot well tonight for Logan Morris. He's still working hard. A really good player, but this is the icing on the cake.
So all is quiet. This is fractionally easier than the last, and a much better result. Finally, he hits the target. And the task just got that little greater for the Western Bulldogs. It's a game-high 22-point lead now to the reigning premiers.
Well, that's going to break at some stage, Chase. That's just been in their half. They've had 13 inside 50s to 4 for the quarter. Forward half intercepts have all been the Brisbane Lions, so it just keeps coming back and keeps coming back. They've kicked 2 goals for.
That was just a brain fade from Bailey Williams. It was poor execution, but it was a poor decision because it was 1 against 3 and the kick had to be perfect. He needed to hold on to it, either go back the other way, look short, or then go very, very long. But horrible option, and they've been punished.
Controlling the ball too. So this uncontested marking game, which we know they love, is 21-12 again for the quarter. So they're controlling the footy around the ground. They're controlling position, so it's lived in their half. And now, after 13 insides, they're starting to get some scoreboard reward.
Fourth time lucky for Morris, 2 that didn't score behind, and now he has a major. McInerney's taking the yardage out of the ruck. Fraser ran into a dead end.
That's
that
a
dead end
great
is Dunkley. Liberatore worked it out. Bramble brushed his way clear. So the Dogs get a look inside 50. Norton trying to get a jump. West waited out the back, slipped the tackle, and kicks the goal. He's got 3.
So aerially, we thought this was going to be the great challenge for the Brisbane Lions defence, but it's the ground ball stuff that's getting the job done, and he's as good as any at the moment, Riley West, in playing a number of different roles. He's accountable to a man, but he's got great goal sense as well.
It's become even more crucial to the Bulldogs, Riley West, with the loss of Waitman, because they don't have that recognised small forward that kicks goals regularly each and every week, but he finds a way. As you say, his defensive work's exceptional. He doesn't always get big possessions, but he finds a way to hit the scoreboard. He's done it again tonight just to keep the Bulldogs in touch once again.
3 out of 7. That's a magnificent return. So they're hanging in. It's got to crack open at some stage. There's got to be a flurry Number one scoring team in the competition. They've got to try and get on a bit of a roll here.
Can they keep going and worry the Lions out of it?
Garcia with the handball. Fraser again, plenty of company. Liberatore, they just up the defensive ante, the Lions. Put them back on the back foot.
Back it out here.
Dunkley, 11 tackles tonight after his 13 last week. Wax it clear. Bramble straight into Archie. Didn't have the prior that time, despite the frustrations and the annoyances that were around. Weber and Rayner. Bit of push, bit of shove. Fraser again able to reel it in. Close quarters Garcia. Bramble being pushed further back. O'Donnell needed a help, he needed a runner. Cleary was there to provide. It was a reach for Richards, but he has the ball under his command now. Davidson down the line. Richards has got grander plans. Norton's going to bypass him as well. It was a funny old kick, but Vandermeer was on the same page. Won it eventually. There's options for Norton. He just had to get it on the boot. He needed to get more purchase than that. Williams versus Archie. Darcy versus McInerney. And still it goes 30 metres out. McNeil, brilliant hands. Liberatore. The crowd were gasping, but the goalkeeper was there. And it's the ever-reliable Ryan Lester.
Talk about opportunities lost. If he gets any boot on it, Aaron Norton, it's a goal. They're queuing up Sam Darcy and company.
Reville with ball in hands. He's patient to a fault. Lohmann will get a fresh leap. The knee and propelled himself to really have the trajectory right.
We spoke at half-time about Dane Zorko having a few issues with that cut on the head and his foot injury, but he's had 9 disposals in this third quarter alone. He's really setting up across half-back well.
A tantalising margin of 16 points and swing goal up for grabs again. Darcy moved McInerney underneath. Gives Norton a chance to fly. Lester, terrific stuff. Serves wherever required.
Coach's pet, they reckon, and no wonder.
Just does the job every week.
Yep.
Great courage. You depend on him.
McCluggage drags it into the middle for Archie, and the possibilities are immense. Archie goes to half forward. He set a task for Forts. Lohmann interference. Berry's underneath. He'll kick his seconds. And again, the Lions get the swing goal. It's 22 points.
You want to see the game changes because Hugh McCluggage is able to see it and then execute it and make it. And his great mate Berry ends up kicking the goal, but I know where they all go to. They go to the 200 man who does not waste the possession.
Well, it wasn't a bad crumb either.
That's a kick.
Have a look at this crumb. He gets front square, takes it on the full. Bailey Williams just runs past it. He's got all the time in the world, and it's a great finish around the corner.
The Archie kick wasn't quite as...
Wasn't it? Yeah.
It hung a bit, didn't it?
If he could have played on instead of having to go back behind the mark, he would have been able to get it to Darcy.
They seem to have the answers when the questions are asked of them, the Lions. The Dogs just have to keep throwing something at them. They've got Liberatore, but Fletcher beat him to the punch with the soccer kick. Morris leads the chase. O'Donnell was willing and able to put the tackle on. Ashcroft, Davidson. So a couple of gritty things from the Bulldogs to win it back. And that's the Lions' specialty tonight. Back to Morris again. Searching ball. Lohmann couldn't rise that time. That's more like it from Jones. And then Johannesson.
There's no problem in the spirit of the Western Bulldogs. They're having a big crack. Their tackle pressure's up, their general pressure, their contested ball's up. They just haven't been able to find any flair, any great ball movement, any offensive flair, which we've come to expect from them. And maybe that's just credit to this Brisbane team.
Took possession and knew the escape route as well. Starcevic Wilmont back to the 50 again. Liberatore. Oh, Neale wasn't far away. Bontempelli, Leicester lefties man. And again, work the angles where required. Garcia, Starcevic. Commitment unquestionable from both teams. Back over the boundary again, and it remains a 22-point ball game. See the frustration on the face of the Bont.
Yeah, Bontempelli, Liberatore have had just 5 score involvements between the two of them. So Bont kind of sums up where the game's at. He's been good, no problem there, but he hasn't been great. They need him to be great.
Richards found his way through. Scunged the kick forward though. Leicester having a terrific quarter. Kennedy, Richards trying to combine. Garcia, Davidson kept a step of space. Put it in front of Vandermeer. But the boundary wins out. Gibraltar as the sub. And Marshall as the second gamer. He's the sub for Lions. So late in the third term, the coaches considering their options. McInerney took it forward. Liberatore though was onto it. Bramble trying to set the Dogs up at half forward. Starcevic is in the grapple. Berry over the top. English got it going for Bontempelli. At full stride, checks his kick perfectly for Darcy.
I think he knew the moment he got the ball, Bontempelli, what he wanted to do with it. He just had to bide his time and wait for the separation. And this should be the goal that gets them back to that nagging margin again. Just read it over the back. Andrews didn't know which way he was going. Was he taken off towards goal? He lost track of his opponent. Became an easy chip.
So Vandermeer off. That assessment being made before the sub. And now this critical kick for Sam Darcy to drag the Bulldogs back. And they are hanging around.
He's done a lot of his work high, Sam Darcy. He's presented up high all night on Harris Andrews, which is to be commended. He always wants to provide a target for his team, but that's his first inside 50 mark, Chief. So if they're going to win, maybe he's just got to try and anchor himself a bit closer to goal to get some reward from a scoreboard point of view. We know he can do this. We know he can get up and mark on the wings. But as you say, he just loses him, Harris Andrews, and it's an easy kick. So I think keep him inside. He's gone down the goal square, close to the goal. See if he can't pull something out this last quarter in 5 minutes.
One of those, he just got caught ball watching Harris Andrews, and you're nearly better off saying, well, if you're good enough to kick it on the run from 45 or 50, do that. I'm not going to give you the easy chip to my man who has a set shot 30 out directly in front.
5 goals, 1 from set shot, so 5 of their 8 in that method. Back in the middle, Liberatore. Again, it's Cleary, knowing that he has to springboard. Send them in the Richards direction. Fletcher a match, not just in the air, but at ground level. Suddenly Neale. Ashcroft, Lever had a hand in it to try and win it back. McCluggage. Free kick going back to Dane Zorko. Lever is not impressed. Zorko to centre half forward. Archie. They drift down into the front 50 to the goal square. Lohmann. Another near. Not a near miss, a near get. He's back at it again. He's in the road of Charlie Cameron. Reveal back to Fort. This is close. Bontempelli tips it over. Darcy Fort kicked 3 goals against the Bulldogs in his debut for the Cats way back when, 2019.
Kicking was a quick one. English didn't find Johannesson. They might pay a big price. McCluggage used Neale, who fluffed the kick badly. And Bontempelli gets a fresh look out into the pockets. Wants Williams on the way out. Reveal's got other ideas. Ground ball to be won. Gardner got in there. Released. Out near the boundary. Bontempelli kept it alive momentarily.
Jared, you mentioned a couple of minutes ago Vandermeer limp from the ground. He's getting his left ankle re-strapped. He's still in the game, so the sub hasn't been used as yet for the Bulldogs.
Twist dancing on the spot. 3 to go in this third term. 17 points in the Lions' favour. Fort used the body well. Released McCluggage. Hooks it up inside the 50. Hipwood.
Been a tough night for Eric Hipwood. He's done a couple of nice things, but all in all, he has really struggled to get much possession. He's had the 5 possessions for the one behind. But this becomes a really important kick just to steady things again for the Lions after a good contested mark.
He's going to kick 4 goals in the past 8 games, 4 singles and 4 zeros. Kicked it behind earlier in the night. Eric Hipwood. Key test of the set shot skill. He won't make the moment. Second behind for Eric.
It's a real contrast, as we said. The Dogs with beautiful set shots. Lions 2 goals for, but they're getting repeat opportunities. Mistakes like that. Back to full forward again. Clogged up this time by the Dogs.
Well, when Bailey Dale's missing targets, you know you're under some pressure in the back half. It's lucky they haven't paid the ultimate price.
Well, that 14 forward half intercepts in the third quarter alone.
Yeah, they've had territory all quarter the Lions.
Bob Johannesson. Gardner had first play against the lag in Norton. Half boundary, half teammate in mind. They work it back through Reville and to Andrews and to McCluggage. The left boot when needed. From the side it was Neale. Archie back to Ashcroft. Archie again. A slider across the front. Safe hands from Sanders.
Just so many random kicks inside 50 for the Lions. It's a toss of the dice. No one's got any idea where they're going, and they just keep landing in the hands of the Bulldogs.
They've had 22 inside 50s for the quarter.
Yep.
22. My goodness. Out to the wing. Fist from behind from Fraser. They're going forward again. Make it 23. Zorko into the crowd. They want everyone to get involved.
He had a hand pass option. He had Berry running ahead of him. Could have improved the run and carry, but he wanted to take that kick that counted.
Well, in the end, he'll take 18 points if you're the Western Bulldogs, given the domination this quarter and the territory domination, but they haven't been put to bed yet, the Doggies.
That's exactly right.
Wouldn't they love to strike in the last 64 seconds of the term? Cleary put it long. Zorko working underneath. Pack forms around it. Set up at 53.
So this is where you'd like... Well, Darcy's going to be backward, is it?
English there. Neale threatens to bring it away. Fashion to kick up for Morris, who rolls and gives them a look inside the 50-yard. Chi set himself. He always had position.
And I think that's the matchup you like the look of. We know that Calamar Chi's very, very good overhead. It's just an awkward matchup, one out in defence.
Jason, 17. So we talk about the inside 50s at 24. They've had 17 forward half intercepts for the quarter. That's the most they've had since 2006.
Yep. Just get that the inexperience there of Luke Cleary, one out.
Get a little bit more of it on the board. Archie.
Hasn't.
Nope, he hasn't.
They are just leaving themselves vulnerable.
They've broken all sorts of territory records, yet they've left the door open.
Yep.
And the door is open, and just to add to the intrigue, the Lions, their last quarters have been their worst this year. They've won 7, lost 9, and the Bulldogs have been fast finishers. They've won 12 and lost just 4. So they'll give themselves a chance in the last quarter. The margin is 19 points with so much on the line. And then they'll turn their attention to tomorrow when the other team's in the chase for the 8th. Hawthorn, the hot favourites against Port Adelaide. Kick off Super Saturday on Fox.
All right, 3/4 time here, folks. Hey, Anthony, hey, welcome in. Jumping over. You going to Penrith? I tell you what, the Penrith Panthers are doing well. I tell you what, over there at the NRL, where it's just about full time, Penrith Panthers 30, South Sydney Rabbitohs 6, 77-minute mark for the second term. There we go, the second half over there. But here, the Brisbane Lions 10-11, 71. Doing it quite well against the Western Bulldogs, 8-4, 52. 9 points is the margin here. I tell you what, look, the Dogs are struggling. It's just goal for goal in that third term. The Dogs struggling to get 2 in a row. And when the Dogs do get that goal, look, the class of Brisbane, they just don't allow them to get that second third. They're just not letting them get that run on. And the Brisbane Lions just, Lions keeping Freo fans nervous. I don't know whether it'd be about nervous. For me, I can't see the Lions getting done in this game. I know. As we always say, this is only 19 points. We know the Dogs can put on a flurry of 4 or 5 goals pretty quick. Just the way they're playing, it just doesn't look like the Lions are going to allow that to happen. But we'll have to wait and see for the final quarter, which is coming up in 3 minutes' time. Eddie G. Dave, they're still in. Just for Eddie G, there is the live ladder. There at the moment. Of course, Brisbane will be on second, but for Eddie G, Fremantle still 8th. Western Bulldogs still be 9th. So the Western Bulldogs will be hoping that either Hawthorn, Gold Coast, Geelong lose. I think maybe Gold Coast probably the only team that could probably lose that. I would think they're playing Adelaide. Hawthorn playing Port Adelaide. Just have a look at the goal scorers so far. Riley West came up with another nice goal in that one. Top on the table there for the Bulldogs with 3 goals. And the rest are just singles to the Bulldogs with Aaron Norton, Kennedy, Garcia, Tim English, Sam Darcy getting on the board. When he slotted that goal through, I thought things was going to start to happen. The announcements, voices sound like every day. It's crazy. This is me. This isn't me at the moment, David. Oh, the commentators sound like me. Oh, there you go. There we go. That's not too bad. They do a little bit better commentating than I do. I tried it once or twice. I wasn't overly good at the commentating. There we go. Still think Fremantle is a Star Trek movie. You know what? They could be. They could be. I think Eddie G might go into Star Trek and go into the future. Maybe you'll see Freo win a flag at some point in time, and he can come back and let us know when they actually do. For Brisbane Lions, though, we've got a few multiples. Jared Berry, Will Ashcroft, Levi Ashcroft, all with 2. Cam Rayner, Logan Morris, Kai Lohmann, of course, Charlie Cameron. Singles to the Brisbane Lions. Bailey Dale continues to top the table on the disposal count up until 3/4 time with 24. Lachie Neale jumps up to 22 with Hugh McCluggage. Hey, don't forget your luggage on 20 with Jasper Fletcher. Zorko, I'll tell you what, he's been in the battles today, but he's still on 19, so he's doing quite well out there. I tell you what, he feel like he'd been in the wall with a boot run over his head, twisted ankle, and he's still doing well. Marcus Bontempelli out there on 19. The Bont needs to lift. He needs to get into the action with Sam Darcy a little bit more. They're the playmakers that can certainly turn the tide, and they really need to get on song. Ed Richards can be a part of that trio as well. He's on 17. Richards there. Calamachi on 15. There we go. Let's just roll down the stats a little bit because we're going to get back down to the action. Players are taking their positions down on the ground. And, of course, the final quarter is coming up in just a moment, folks. Eric Hipwood, just a little bit wobbly on his kicks. 5 kicks, just the 2 behinds for him so far. All right, there we go. That is, let me just roll that back up quickly and we can get back to that later. But there we go. We're coming into the final quarter. I tell you what, there's a lot on the line. There's a lot at stake for both of these teams tonight. The Lions to cement their spot in second. The Bulldogs fighting to get into the top 8. Who's going to win? Tell you what, that's a good question. I still think the Brisbane Lions might just hang on in a tight finish. Let's head back down to the action for the final quarter, where it's the Lions by 19 points.
Brisbane Lions game, it was theirs to own. They owned it, but they didn't own the scoreboard. So now there's that sneaky little suspicion that if the Bulldogs can find a little bit of territory and go bang, bang, you put doubt in the minds of the Lions players. You've done all that hard work and it didn't pay off.
Last night in charge of the Brisbane Lions before he takes on the biggest portfolio in the game at headquarters.
Can't be wearing that tracksuit top anymore.
One last good wear of it.
Never looks stressed, Swanee, does he? Always relaxed.
I'm interested in the Western Bulldogs who are only just now busting out of their huddle. So what's Luke Beveridge selling to this group? We dodged a bullet that quarter, boys. You know, we're still alive. What margins? 19 points, not insurmountable for a team that scores as heavily as they do.
So if you're winning the clearances, Gaz, but you're getting dominated in territory, it means you must be turning it over horribly.
Yeah, well, I think scores from turnover tell you a really good story as well. From a Brisbane Lions point of view, they kicked 8 goals from turnover. The Bulldogs only 3. So they haven't punished in the manner that they would have liked the Dogs. But we know they can score, so they need to get on the board. Actually, they need to string 2 together. It was goal for goal the whole third quarter. So they'd get one, You think they're half a chance, and then they had the answers all quarter the lines.
The Dogs are nipping at heels, but they'll have to come with a withering run. Brisbane 19 points clear, entering the final term at the Gabba. McInerney wins the opening tap. McCluggage stood in the tackle. Bontempelli got a hand in. Dale rode the first and the second tackle. Released for Richards, who's hot. Had one arm pin, got a kick away, but only as far as McInerney. Lob cuts it off, and the Dogs do get out the front. How will Kennedy use it? West had to sprawl and left it behind. Fletcher got around Kennedy with a sweet move. Hipwood has the rise. Chose to knock it on. Trying to get back onto it, he sticks the tackle.
That's a killer for the Dogs. When they've got to complete plays, and then Matthew Kennedy comes running out of the back half and can't find his target and complete the play.
Lob goes back into the hole in front of goal. Neale got to work. Kennedy the same. McCluggage feeds it up. Will Ashcroft tosses it up into the pockets. Almost, but not quite for Cameron, and Dale came marauding through. He'll find the target, Poulter, so the sub is into the frame.
Yeah, Vandermeer has been subbed off for three-quarter time. Snatched back by Zorko. What a steal! And Rayner, who was just biding his time, had a little picnic in the pocket. The kick just drifted.
He puts the arms up to apologise. He throws his head. He knows he's missed a golden opportunity, but this has been typical of what they've done basically for most of the game, in particular that third quarter and now into the last. It's just butchering inside 50 opportunities.
Yeah, and the intercept was so good.
He's just got better and better in that role, hasn't he? Wins it himself and then sends it forward.
Darcy Wilmont, last player in the line here on his own, so they got an extra around the Bulldogs.
Bontempelli again, Dunkley right with him. Williams lags the kick up to the wind. Starcevic and West was ready to wrap him up.
So what's the thinking here, Jace? They're allowing Darcy Wilmont to be free behind the footy. So they've got one extra at the stoppage. So from a clearance point of view, they've had clearance dominance. They need to be running the ball out from clearance, not kicking it out.
Levi Ashcroft, last in the line, off to his brother. To half forward, Jones engages with Hipwood. He got first touch, but not the second. Archie to Cameron. Danger. Oh, he was already turning. Now Rayner, he just wears whatever comes his way. Unflustered.
Just too worried about what he was going to do before he got the ball, Charlie Cameron.
Including the contact from Rory Long.
Nothing split it. Archie. Heavy traffic, Richards, it's about all he could do. It's a blast. He'll need Norton to fly. Oh, Norton soaring. Takes the mark at half back. Little win, but he can't rest on his laurels or look at the replay. Has to kick it to Williams. Along the line, there's Poulter. He didn't really want to keep it in, did he, Williams?
It's just a really interesting situation. The way they set up here is a great mark. Got a nice little bump at the end. The right photograph there will make it look even better. That's a ripper.
English to the front. Tries to lean back into McInerney. He's still got the tap away, but Kennedy up against the chalk. Down the line, there he is again, Zorko. He's making the appeal already, putting it in the umpire's mind. No, independent thinker. Throw in.
First goal, absolutely essential for the visitors. 19 points down. They get a look at the stoppage at the 50. English waits a step or two behind McInerney. Has to weave his way around to the front. Liberatore squeezes a kick into the channel. West has been the most likely all night. Poulter lends a hand. They tie it up. West jarred it clear. Traps it. Came out. Nicked it a goal. It's pinched. Leicester had to go. Good evasive skills. Had support. Levi Ashcroft took his eye off and he's in stride. Must have got it to his boot. Dunkley and Leicester. Kennedy drives hard on the smother. Bontempelli desperate to keep it alive.
Good heat. Yep. Good heat from the doggies. He just got a nick on this. Actually, hit the ground first. That's a free kick.
It bounced. It's a free kick.
Yeah, I think it did bounce first.
Tough call.
Would have been a big one for this Western Bulldogs team. First goal, Jared said, so important, but they're pressing here.
Would have energised them no end. Instead, it's Neale. Disrupted Bramble. Not touched. So the mark is taken by Bramble, and he is capable of the long kick.
Very slow, Eric Hipwood. You've got to be taking that step in front when the quick kick comes out. He was flat-footed.
4 goals, 1 for the season. Often on the charge, coming down from defence. There's a bit going on the goal line. This will take his very best. He thinks it's beyond him. Norton can't rise again. Double fist away from McInerney. And it's all a bit of an anti-climax. Still they circle, though, the Bulldogs.
So much traffic. So many bodies around this.
Fully clogged. Someone get it out of the gridlock. West makes his move. Bontempelli, of course. English thought for a moment he could get out of the clutches.
Just look at the density of this. There is 36 players within a kick of the ball, all in one half of the ground.
Dunkley's on Richards. Starcevic is on the ball. The ball just bobbles. Don't forget Liberatore. It's the Ashcrofts again. Out to the wing to Hipwood. Plants the feet. Jones goes down and pushes in the back. Bit of marking defence.
Lions hold after sustained period defending. Now, what might they do on the counter-attack?
Yeah, a bit of composure would be good, I think. They've been under pressure the last few minutes.
Zorko expansive as ever. Andrews has Fletcher as the shorts.
So they go to their uncontested marking game. They're so well drilled.
And they've exposed the Bulldogs every time they've done that big, long, wide cross. They've opened up the ground and they've found some easy targets.
Reveal didn't have that, so he kicks forward. Cameron lurking out the back. He's been threatening. He stabs it well, and Rayner will get the set shots.
So what that is the completion of one in the ground to the other with virtually no risk. There's no, you said they would look for a no-risk play. The whole thing, apart from that kick there to Charlie, which had to be absolutely right, everything else was no risk, yet they're having a shot at goal. That's why they're number 1 for scoring from the back half.
So much harder to defend when you make the ground as big as it possibly can.
And now Cam Rayner settles in over the opportunity to start the final term of the Lions goal. He wants...
It's been their one problem all night, the set shots.
It's going to cost them. At some stage, it's going to cost them.
Nailed back in to clear.
And they haven't been difficult shots, a lot of them either.
Oh, where's he going next? He set off on his own excellent adventure there. And lucky he spotted Rory Lobb on the outer side, even with his own natural hair colour. He found him. Now Davidson.
Tim English is trying to stretch Big Oscar, and Big Oscar's trying to go with him.
Darcy's also pounding away on the boards inside forward 50 as English takes the mark. A little pop kick. Here's to Kennedy.
It's a great run from Tim English.
Those boundary umpires thought it was out of bounds on the full. So Kennedy didn't and doesn't.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
That was
okay.
Clearly in.
We've seen way worse than that. So Kennedy, as we said, it's been the hallmark of his forward play. Not on that kick though. Norton! Virtually unguarded. You can see the cursing and the frustration of Gardner was left to Levi.
Harris Andrews is having a really good chat to Darcy Ford.
Around he goes. Sorry, Jace.
No, good call.
And hooks it through.
That's the goal the Dogs needed again, but Harris Andrews is looking at Darcy Ford going, why did you just jog around and watch him take that mark? You want your big man to come over the top and crash that through for a behind. He just decided not to go.
Hey, all of a sudden it's 14 points. Look at this run from Tim English to start this up. There it is near the umpire. Away he goes. Big Oscar's got the arm swinging. He says, please pull up. And Tim English says, no, you're coming the whole way with me, Oscar. So he's going, he's striving, but he's put a gap on him. He's been good enough to get from one end to the other. That is a push. That's a genuine push. Now the next kick.
Keep your eye on Darcy Ford here. So you can just see him left of screen. All the time in the world. You'll see the kick come in and he just floats down and does not compete when he could have gone over the top and crunched it.
Yeah. Well, the two big ruckmen have been shown up here badly.
I know, Johannesson prizes a kick out to the middle. It's the fourth free kick that Darcy's got tonight.
Yeah, every time he's held front position, he's got the benefit of the free kick.
He's gone for Williams. Found him before Berry could do anything about it. Richards providing the run. The link-up play to Fraser. Wanted to get back to Richards initially. Had to settle for the kick out wider. West steers it for Norton.
They're alive here, the Dogs. They're alive and they're sniffing something. So they've got it to 14 points unbelievably after all the territory and all the missed opportunities and all the missed set shots from Brisbane. Kicks this goal, they're back to 8 points. And the season is well and truly alive for them.
Set shot kicking has been their strength tonight. Norton for his third at the fat part of the footy, and it goes further and further away from the target. Hipwood dropped the chest mark. Towed away from Brittore. Big ball to win. West to Dale, overwhelmed by the pressure. The Lions swarmed and Ashcroft socketed forward. There was nobody down there. Jones will arrive first. Morris is hunting him. Well, Jones got stuck for a moment. Got it away to Cleary in the nick of time. Can the Dogs reset out of halfback? Johannesson brings it into Williams, who should go. Take the territory and make the kick. West sets himself, took the mark, turns, Zorko, got him. Oh, West given the second go. It's a dribbler.
I don't think he actually tackled him. He knocked the ball out of his hands.
You're right, Case.
Andrew Zorko. So the Lions hold up through Gardner and Levi Ashcroft has it.
That was big.
I think West thought he was gone because
He nearly stopped, didn't he?
Well, he did. He knocked it out rather than tackle. Not that he did it on purpose, but pressure on here. They're under most pressure for the night here, the Brisbane Lions.
Donald kept his eyes on the footy all the way, and Williams was able to cut through. Fraser handball with the invisible man. Liberatore turning. Starcevic wore a bruise or two. Back to Levi Ashcroft and Starcevic again. Clean pair of heels long down the line. Lohmann can't. Well, he did launch, but he thought he got a free. There's an injury. Is it O'Donnell writhing in pain? It is.
He got pushed out of it by Lohmann.
It's barely 12 metres, let alone 15. And Dale tried it again. Ashcroft ready for it. Caused the disruption. It's there for Lohmann now. Either turn around and jump up. Back to goal. And he's missed again.
That's a strange kick. He had options everywhere. This is not good for James O'Donnell. So he gets pushed. He pushes. Bailey Dale pushes Kai Lohmann into James O'Donnell.
So Cleary has to navigate a path, which he successfully does. It's near O'Donnell now. The umpires will call it to a halt.
He's such a courageous footballer. He just watches the ball, doesn't he, in flight? No care almost for his own health.
Just keep an eye on his ankle. He actually stands on the foot of Bailey Dale as he runs into it. Oh, that left ankle, that's a big roll.
So they've used this. Posted 29,039. So you feel like O'Donnell will probably get restrapped and sent back on. Play ready to resume. Fort saw it out the side initially. Archie threatens. Good kick. Instinctive stuff. And he found Hipwood.
And that again is why you must be in front as a forward.
And the irony in this, their inside 50 stuff's been no good. They hack one out of mid-air and it hits him on the chest.
2-6 from the set shots tonight.
Oh, he'll get this, Jared. It's just got written all over it.
Not a chance now.
What?
After you said that.
And the irony in this, their inside 50 stuff's been no good. They hack one out of mid-air and it hits him on the chest.
2-6 from the set shots tonight.
They've kicked all night.
That's my point, though. They're getting a shot off the result of a hack off the ground.
Couple of behinds for Eric Hipwood. Now would be the right time to line up the home crowd. It's not even close.
Not lucky to hit his foot.
And turn back to Norton. climbs carefully. It's out of bounds on the floor.
Wow. So at the moment, it is purely and simply a contest of who can take care of the football when you got possession.
Correct.
Opportunities both ways, and they all keep turning it over.
Gives it a mighty whack. Davidson turns, had to compete in the air with Kennedy. What are going on? Hand pass McCluggage. He misses from set shots.
Yes.
Monty.
Kyle Lohmann, 1 goal, 2. He's been one of the culprits. You know, had his troubles during the season, but it could still all come together when it matters. Lohmann delivers. It might not quite be the knockout blow, but it will feel like it. The Lions lead by 21.
Gee, they needed it, Gaz, didn't they? Just someone who could compose themselves in front of goal.
It's been unbelievable. It really has. And, you know, Loman's had an almost night, as you've been talking about all night. It's a really clean run and jump at it. And to go back to finish.
Just saw him apologising to Will Ashcroft. That was the one earlier when he got the ball and got it quick. Have a look at Darcy and Ryan Lester.
Well, that will all depend on...
Yeah, it looked incidental, didn't it?
Yeah. So you turn around trying to get separation and you... Sounds...
One inside 50s, plus 21 points. It's a hard way to do it. But it's a big lead. Beyond the halfway mark of the final term. The Dogs have to reply instantly. Richards, it was touched as you heard. McNeil, quick release. Garcia works it on.
Sounds to me like it's going to be okay on the back of that.
Plus 21 inside 50s, plus 21 points. It's a hard way to do it. But it's a big lead. Beyond the halfway mark of the final term. The Dogs have to reply instantly. Richards, it was touched as you heard. McNeil, quick release. Garcia works it on. West would be shooting for his 4th. Didn't quite get the connection he was after. And Lester, brave to a fault, propels himself to spoil Bontempelli.
Yeah, that's a big spoil. He would have marked that, Bontempelli. That is brilliant. He just does these sorts of things on a weekly basis, Ryan Lester.
Unbelievable, isn't it? He started in the goal square of the Bont then too, so putting all their eggs down the front end basket here.
They're going to kick 4 to win it, the Dogs. You think one has to come from this foray. They forage for it. Liberatore, West. Got it to his boot, so Norton's a chance. Underneath, Fraser pops it through, and the Dogs are still there.
They've been courageous, Gas. They don't know how to go away, do they? They just keep coming. They haven't had the same opportunities that the Lions have had, but they keep persisting.
No, there's no question about that, but the problem for them, and the longer this goes, is this narrative about them being brave and honest and having a crack and everything else, but the stark and harsh reality is they're not up to the big teams. They're not up to the best teams in the competition, and as it looms right now, this is going to be another failure.
Well, the next 6 or 7 minutes may say otherwise.
Yeah, well, hopefully for Dog supporters it does. And they've been, you know, as you said, they're brave, they're putting their head in the hole, they're having a crack, and they're tackling hard. But the polish just hasn't been there today. So what did they kick? 64 points. After I said they average 90 when they lose. If they played up to their average tonight, they're in front. It's just not quite there for them.
Get to you shortly, Lynchy, out of the middle, the Dogs clean. Richards, Bontempelli, the big names, the big guns. From the side, Lester again. Fraser has a habit of kicking the big goals or setting them up. Richards got them going out of the middle. Couldn't cross the line. Brilliant stuff from the Lions. They're not going to give this one up easily.
Oh, that is great defence. Look at the joy on the face of the players.
You talk about Leicester. Now look at Gardner.
Yeah. He's dived, he hung by a thread, and then he goes again.
And the young man, Wilmont, gets in there and smothers. Unbelievable defence.
Back with Leicester again. Marches out. At the back, Lohmann quite get the channel he was after this time. And the Dogs able to pull it away. Pace Garcia. Has he gone over the line? He has. So we have a throw in instead. Just under 7 minutes remaining.
Lachie revealed the sub for us.
Yes, Sam Marshall into the game. Bruce reveals subbed out, tactical sub.
15 points. So the Dogs charged with the task of finding one again. Darcy puts it out in front of Richards to give them the chance. Will he back himself, Richards? He hoiks it up. Norton almost. Desperate effort. Gabba didn't get it away. Ball still in fierce dispute. Liberatore had a mind to get towards it. Davidson kept it alive, but Zorko shut it down. Took the territory up the line, but the Dogs have got a stronghold.
They've been kicked 2 in a row since the first quarter, Jared. They need to kick 2 in a row right here.
Jones has gone for Darcy in front, kept away by McInerney. Underneath McCluggage, Wilmont tackled and lost it. Davidson shot it around. West squeezed the kick near the teeth of goal. Fraser had it for a moment. He's still on the follow-up. Lions have got numbers. Marshall's first involvement was on balance. A shocker. Straight to Bontempelli. It was hands to head for Gardner. The moment he dropped it on the boot.
Now is the moment. This is the moment of the game right here. This gets them back to under 10 points and means back-to-back goals for the first time since the opening minutes of the game.
So the captain has the footy and the responsibility. Bontempelli makes it possible for the Dogs.
Huge, Jace. And don't punch me like that. That is massive.
Retracting.
That reflect by the players. They're not tightening up. Look at him. Look at the captain. So they're alive here. Plenty of time on the clock. Territory's the key.
Well, they've given themselves a shot. Back in the middle and at it again.
What they can't do, Jace, is allow this Brisbane Lions to own the footy. Uncontested, mark their way out of trouble.
Brisbane by 9. Bontempelli's everywhere. Garcia. Cameron was the hunter, but the Bonts got it again. And the Dogs go forward again. And Norton will rise again. Can't take the mark. Zorko.
Dived on it.
Up by weight. Oh, could have been the death knell.
That could have gone against him.
Last couple of inside 50s have been to the captain. He's just got his nostrils are flaring.
Can he get near this one? He's waiting at the edge of the pack. Berry had a go at it. Dunkley's hands. Marshall quickly to Zorko, and they're out. Safe hands from Archie. Dale had to release.
He's going to go back 10.
It's going to be 50.
That's ridiculous to think they can stand the mark there.
Well, now this is the area where they've got to find an opponent and don't allow this to turn into an uncontested mark. Make him kick it down the line.
He's not going quickly. He's taking his time. The easy option's the right one.
2 goals in 4.5 minutes the Dogs need. It's particularly short. O'Donnell has been strapped up and returned to the fray.
Still 1-on-1 down the line here. There's no Brisbane Lions players that have pushed back to... Get a +1.
There's some bravery that'll be required to win it. Kick was a bit shallower than intended and Bontempelli pushed.
Free kick Dunkley here. Again, they'll just try and take some time. Take a bit of air out of it.
Clock is the ally. There's the uncontested mark to Marshall.
Can't let that, Riley Sanders. It's 1-on-1. You can't just let a man run past you like that.
So the sub pumps it up into the channel. Archie in front, knocked away. Ground ball. Neale is there. Tackled by Liberatore. Still able to release. Lohmann took the tackles. Ball it up. Tense times.
Now they got Leicester free behind the ball.
Got to defend and then break it into open space. Victoria nearly kicked Kennedy out of the way. Marshall tackled by Sanders. Head in the hole, McCluggage. Cameron opens it up. Awkward ball up near the 50. Probably a good one to tie up from a Lions perspective.
It wasn't great awareness from Charlie Cameron. You don't want to be kicking it back into a corridor like that.
There he is, Ryan Leicester, just holding things together. I like now Fraser's come back to make it one-on-one. I like that.
Fought, but it fell Liberatore's way, not for long. Second go, Bramble. Dangerous kick, Berry. Took the tackle, bursting through. Dunkley, we all watch, we all wait. Jones tracks it, found it, fumbled it. Or did he mark it? We're going to have another review just to elongate this climax to this night.
It doesn't help the Dogs. This allows the Brisbane Lions to get set up in a big way here.
I believe it's behind him. Please confirm it was juggled over.
It's called a juggle.
Umpire's call is no score. Sorry, behind. Umpire's call is behind. Please confirm it was juggled over.
We're going to be juggling
Review
right
underway.
We lose sight of it.
Yeah.
Right there.
I think it leaves his hands, does it?
There's a little bit of movement, though, isn't there?
There is.
Is it control?
Is there air between the ball and his fingers? How could you tell?
I don't think they'll overturn it on that.
They might be right.
Does that look like it's balanced on his fingertips, doesn't it?
It does a little bit, yeah. But all it does now is you have a look around the ground. The Brisbane Lions are set up.
That just looks blurry.
Yeah.
Yep.
We don't need it with 3 minutes and 11 with the Dogs pressing hard at 9 points. Got it as close as they've been for probably since the second quarter. Somehow they've got to get something going, but they haven't
got a good joke to tell.
Yeah. Well, I wonder what the Dogs are planning here because they've got to have something ready to go.
So what?
Got a joke.
Got to get a decision, haven't we?
Come on, folks. Hurry up. You're going to have to commit one way or another.
Just give it the point. It's just not going to
go with the umpire's call if you don't know.
Still 2 goals behind.
Oh my goodness.
Rest my case.
This is.
Come on, Swanee! Pick up the phone, mate. Ring the arc. Make a damn decision.
Review complete. Looking at these angles, there is insufficient evidence to determine whether the players marked the ball. Decision on scoreboards.
So it's a 10-point lead on the behind to the Lions.
Just seemed to take a touch too long, didn't it?
Righto, on the Dogs got here.
Yep.
They set something up. They're going to try and free someone up here.
Do you go down the middle?
Got to play on, don't you? You got to play on and take territory hard. English is long. Darcy's long.
Kicking goals are a rare treasure. How the Dogs would like to come up with one now. Norton was the target. Worked underneath it. Ground ball. Richards stuck the tackle. He went in the back. It's a bit over-enthusiastic.
Still plenty of time left on the clock to kick a couple of goals. They've got to man up the Dogs. You can't allow uncontested kicks like this.
Yeah.
So they'll just go across.
Andrews.
He'll get back.
I don't want to give away too much ground, but Zorko stayed viable.
He worked hard, Lachie Neale, and he got ignored.
Fagan's not big on the sides, but he's got 99.99 up. Kick up. Fort kept it in dispute for a moment. Dale's hand pass was charged down. Neale did some good work in close. And Berry almost came out. He did. Rayner, Bontempelli. That's a ball and all tackle if ever you've seen one. And the Dogs are off. Fraser from centre field. It's...
He was, but there's not much movement.
That was smart by Oscar McInerney. He took it out of the ruck and said, we'll buy another 10 seconds. We'll have an extra stoppage.
Archie's just gone back into defence. He's been followed.
So's Hipwood.
Yeah. So it's coming their way. Kennedy sees to that. Norton. He's got it. Riley West.
Can't take too long.
He's been the most dangerous forward all night.
Doesn't it set up a massive last minute?
He has 3 goals. He has a minute 22 and he can't waste any seconds that are unnecessary. First job is to kick the goal. He's been the most dangerous forward all night.
Doesn't it set up a massive last minute?
He has 3 goals.
Forward. He's got that first step in front of his man. Leicester unable to get there.
How do you get in that traffic? It's extraordinary.
Keep your eye on this stoppage, Gaz.
What about what's at stake right here? They can put this hoodoo to bed, the Western Bulldogs.
So it's Bontempelli, Liberatore.
The final reckoning. English put it out in front of Bontempelli. McCluggage beat him to it. Dunkley slapped onto the boot by Wilmont. Back into dispute. Johannisen, Archie got hold of it. The Lions went out. Charlie gets it up inside the 50. Morris out the back. Tried to keep Jones underneath. It'll beat them all to the boundary.
That's where you want it. That's where you want it if you're Brisbane. Now, can they lock it in?
So Archie, who's on his own now, gets it squared up with Johannisen, so they won't allow a spare behind the footy.
So he's calling others back. It's Berry that's going back.
Dunkley's got responsibility for Bontempelli. McInerney. Fraser got a touch once and twice. Cut off though. Cameron got it from Marshall and Ashcroft.
Yeah, there's a really great touch.
Clever kick.
A great kick, but there's a really clever touch in that from Sam Marshall. When all of the pressure's on, the ball's going away from the stoppage here, then this touch is just really classy from Marshall.
The shot clock makes it safe. The Ashcrofts have 4 between them.
So right now, he's better off letting the clock run down and then kick it backwards.
Will Ashcroft, as the seconds dwindle, uses them all to his advantage. Thrashes it at the goal front. He gave it a great ride. What a way to finish. Strap the belt on. They're the champs still. Will Ashcroft with the final say. Brisbane victorious. The Dogs were nuisance value all night, but again they come up agonisingly short of the standard.
It's a big win. They got a little bit nervous because of all the opportunities they had where they didn't put the Dogs away. But they hung tough. They hung really tough. That last set of clearance, the ability to not let it go deep forward and then trap it in their forward half.
They couldn't kick a set shot all night, and then at the end when it really mattered, Will Ashcroft kicks one from the boundary on the siren. What a young star he is.
Well done. Well done to the team that are defending the title. They've secured a spot in September, you would think, with that win, and they have put the Western Bulldogs in a precarious position depending on some other results that will unfold throughout the rest of the weekend. And then you look at it, Jason, you go,
again,
what do you make of the Western Bulldogs?
Yep.
A brave loss to a contender, or...
Having said that, the margin should have been bigger.
Yeah, the inability to get the job done against someone contending, and that's what they're going to have to live with. But gee, they wasted the Lions. I'll get back that Marshall touch in there, because that was everything there. Anyway, there were a lot of moments. Marcus Bontempelli he said he had to be great for them to get close, and he just had 10, 12, 15 minutes of greatness. But they hold on at home, they get the job done. Deep breaths now, and they got 5 tough games to go, the Brisbane Lions.
So plus 20 inside 50, plus 10 scoring shots, and they win by 10 points.
Yeah, that kind of tells you your story right there, doesn't it?
So even if those 10 extra shots and 5 goals 5, which is a great conversion. There's a 35-point margin instead of 10. So it's probably a little bit more in the game from a Brisbane perspective than the Bulldogs. The margin's probably a little unfair to the Lions, but they're competing against everyone.
Let's get out to Alistair Leach.
Thanks, Hutto. With Josh Dunkley, mate, that was a slog in the end.
Yeah, I mean, they're a quality side, the Doggies, and we knew that coming into the game. They've had a really good year so far, and they bring the heat around the ball especially, and we knew we were going to be up for a contest, and it was nice to come out on top again.
Well, how was that midfield slog? Because it looked like they scored 7 goals from stoppages, so they probably got you there.
Yeah, we knew that they're going to be a potent midfield from stoppage. They invest so many numbers in there, so it's hard to, at times, even it out and try and negate it in some ways, but they're a powerful midfield, mate. They've got some of the best mids in the comp, so it's hard to stop at times.
Your ball transition, you look like you adapted to the conditions, especially during that second quarter. You got the ball moving a bit.
Yeah, that was our goal. I mean, it dried up a little bit out here. It was a bit wet earlier and fumbly, so after half-time we wanted to shift the ball a little bit more and try and make them defend us a little bit more. So when we had our ball in hand, it was actually working through them quite nicely, so it was a good game. And now seeing him up close and personal and knowing the person that he is, it's just incredible. So I love playing alongside him every week.
And I think you're a great mentor for him, so congratulations on your performance. Fantastic effort. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Had a good battle again with Marcus Bontempelli. He just about called out even. The Bont got hot late when they needed something from him, but Dunkley's
14 tackles.
14 tackles he ended up with. Let's go back to Alistair Leach.
Thanks, Hutto. Here with Huey. Chat to you again, mate. That was probably a bit more difficult than you would have expected with the shots at goal.
Yeah, we made it a little bit hard for ourselves there. We were kicking a little bit inaccurately, but I'm just really proud that we didn't give up and we just kept going and going until that final siren and got the win, so really important for us.
What was the main theme at, say, three-quarter time from the coach?
We just want to keep taking the game on, really. Protect the corridor, because obviously teams, when they're trying to come from behind, are going to go through there, but then also keep using the ball ourselves, and we've really matured in that aspect over the last few years.
Yeah, you're taking on a first-class midfield, but you must be wrapped with the way your midfield is developing. We've got some kind words from Josh Dunkley about your game, but I'd imagine he's been a huge asset for you in the midfield.
He's a superstar. He is one of the most selfless players, plays so hard, runs defensively as hard as anyone, and I love playing alongside him. Same as Lachie. Lachie's always working hard on his craft, and yeah, it's just a well-rounded midfield. And then we've got Will, obviously, who kicks, I think, 2 or 3 tonight and offers another dynamic through there. So it's great to play with them all.
One of your good mates that you were drafted with came up here together, Jared Berry. He made a huge impact again tonight. That must have been a huge asset for you to arrive at the club at the same time and sort of just go through this exciting period together.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. We're so excited when we got picked up together, and just to watch him develop as well. He plays that wing role as well as anyone now. I think he gets up and back, works hard defensively, and then hits a scoreboard like he did tonight. So yeah, super proud of the way he's embraced that, and I love playing with him, and I love being up here with him as well.
How many family and friends do you have to come up with for tickets?
There's a few up in the corporate box, I think. So I think they were down at Big Park driving range having a few beers early, so it could be pretty rowdy when we get in there.
You better get in there and keep them under control, and well done tonight.
Thanks, Lachie. Appreciate it.
He's been there the whole way, hasn't he, with Chris Fagan.
Yep.
Part of what they've just developed so beautifully over the time, and they're so well placed now to challenge to go back to back. And as we've talked about, he's very much on his way to being on it for the first time as an All-Australian.
Feels like there's a really strong culture at this club. We've got some great leaders. None better than the little old man in charge, Chris Fagan. He's a ripper, and they love playing for him. In the end, it was just weight of territory that was too much. I mean, 64 inside 50s to 44. You're just having to defend too much, and if they had have kicked straight, it would have been a more comfortable win. You can see percentage not really an issue for the Lions with the draw, but they need to keep winning because there's plenty of teams chasing.
No walk in the park for Collingwood tomorrow, is it, against Fremantle? So it could be within 2 points. Sunday, that is.
So the Bulldogs are barracking against a few underhand because you don't want to be 8 adrift with 5 to play.
The funny thing is, if you fight hard enough to get in the 8, you might just find yourself in the top 4 because it can swing so quick with all these teams playing each other at some stage.
They're going to have to carry 1 and 8 now to their next matchup.
Yep.
They get Thursday night against Essendon to plump their position. They're perfect against those in the bottom 9, but they need a win. They need a win against the good sides. Brisbane have got all the good sides on the way in. That's why tonight was so important at home. The big assignments, and there's not much of a buffer for them.
No, but if they get cop 2, Jared, with that run home, they're going to be cherry ripe by the time they get there.
It's a great moment for Hugh McCluggage. It's the plaudits of the football world centred on him. They have been all season. A milestone really crystallises it as he moves towards his first All-Australian blazer.
Yeah, looks a humble man, speaks well. But he's up in disposals, he's up in contested possessions, he's up in clearances, he's up in score involvements, and he's at the most score assists this year. I mean, it's hard to deny him an All-Australian, surely.
This sort of weather wouldn't have worried him, being from Warrnambool, Allensford originally.
Plenty of meaning. Oscar McInerney's reintroduction has been really important as well for the running.
Wonder how long they'll play the 2 rucks for. I think they lie. I think Chris Fagan likes it.
Talk about horses for courses. There's the same day there's a possibility to be the second ruck.
Sometimes you can just tell, can't you, how important it was.
Where's Footy? Rate him up.
All right, there we go, folks. That is game, set, match. The Brisbane Lions a little bit too good for the Bulldogs tonight. Winners by 10 points, 12-14, 86. The Bulldogs 12-4, 76, 10-point margin. Of course, the Lions putting on 2 goals straight in that final turn. The Bulldogs tried their heart out. They kicked 4 goals straight, but to no avail. The Brisbane Lions, look, they were just too good, too strong, too classy, this outfit this evening for the Dogs. The Dogs have got to go back to the drawing board. I think they've got a fair bit of work to do. I've got to review their game. Look, they just didn't have much running flow today like we normally see the Bulldogs. That's what they say. When you're coming up a fantastic opposition like the Brisbane Lions, you've got to get that job done when you're playing against the big boys. There we go. All right, let's just have a little bit of a look at the goal scorers and the play stats before we wrap this one up. Riley West ended up topping the table with 4 goals out on the field for the Western Bulldogs. Aaron Norton with 2. Kennedy, Garcia, Fraser, English, Darcy, Bontempelli, all were singles there for the Western Bulldogs. For the Brisbane Lions, however, Will Ashcroft ended up with 3. Fantastic kicking straight. Kai Lohmann, Jared Berry, Levi Ashcroft, all with 2 each. Cam Rayner, Logan Morris, Charlie Cameron, singles for the Brisbane Lions. Disposal getters out on the ground. Well, there was only one in the 30s this evening, and that was Bailey Dale from the Western Bulldogs with 25 kicks, 8 handballs, 8 marks, 3 tackles, 4 clearances, and 1 behind. The best for the Brisbane Lions, of course, was Josh Dunkley, on 28. Ed Richards also up there with 27 for the Doggies. McCluggage, 27 also. Zorko had a fantastic game on 25. Lachie Neale, 24. The Bont, he started to come into it in the final term. They just failed. There we go. He had 24 with the goal, so he did pretty well with 10 tackles, 4 clearances. There we go. Let's just roll down the stats there. Riley West, as I said, 4 goals, topping the table in the goal scoring list. He had 14 touches and 4 tackles there. Logan Morris got on the scoreboard for the Brisbane Lions, kicking 1-1 off 13 disposals, 9 kicks for him. Oscar McInerney, the big ruckman, 11 disposals for Brizzy, 38 hitouts, 1 clearance. Always does his best out there, and his opposing ruckman, Tim English, 10 possessions, 35 hitouts, and 1 clearance. They're the other ruckman for Brisbane, the second ruck. Giving him a little bit of a hand, Oscar, of course, was Darcy Fort, 17 hitouts to him there. Just looking at the team stats, I'll just reload this up and we'll go through them quickly. I think my internet's just failing a little bit tonight, folks. There we go. It was the Brisbane Lions, plus 23 in the disposal count overall. And, of course, inside 50s, Brisbane Lions, 64, well above, the Western Bulldogs there, Adrian, on 44. They were plus 20 inside 50s there. Of course, efficiency for both teams are a little bit low today, 67, 68, well below season average. Free kicks, umpire had a bit of a field day, 16 to 20. It was plus 4 to the away team, but the Lions got the job done in the hitouts. They were plus 15, 55 to 40. Clearances, it was the Dogs there, but it was the stoppage clearances that got them in front there, plus 8 there. Centre clearances all tied up. Contested possession, it was a pretty scrappy contested game, 165-150, plus 15 to the Lions. And of course, uncontested, it was only plus 18, so not a great deal there. Turnovers, that's just too high for the Dogs. 81 turnovers, they just weren't clean with the ball this evening. Bulldogs just can't beat a top team this year. Tell you what, it's interesting why they can't do that, because going back just a few rounds ago, I tell you what, they were on fire. When Sam Darcy came back into the team, the Dogs looked like they were just on fire, and it looked like they were going to be the team that were going to trouble all the top 8 sides. But, things just turn. They just need to get back to the drawing board, and I'm sure there'll be a good review coming their way. All right, there we go. Tackle count, both teams tackling pretty high. As would say, it was a well-contested game. And the tackles inside 50, 23, 15. Lions a bit too good there. Don't forget, these two teams next week, folks. These two teams come up. Well, it's a bit easier week for the Bulldogs next week, because the Bulldogs, they're back at Marvel Stadium. Perhaps their favourite ground. They'll be taking on Essendon, who are playing not too good at all. So that should be a victory for the Western Bulldogs. That'll give them, the teams just above them a little bit more of a fright. But of course, next week for the Brisbane Lions, I think this is a game the Brisbane Lions can actually get rolled in. They're taking on the Gold Coast Suns up at People First Stadium. I'll tell you what, that's going to be a cracker. Who's going to be the Brisbane team that comes out on top? The Queensland team, is it going to be the Gold Coast Suns or the Brisbane Lions? So I suppose the only good thing for the Brizzy Lions is they don't have to travel too far to the Gold Coast home ground. But as I said, all the way through this season and last week, Gold Coast Suns are a very difficult team to beat at home. So I tell you what, that's going to be a ring-a-ding-ding game. That is probably match of the round next week. I would assume, just looking at some of the rundowns, I think that'll be definitely match of the round next week. Brisbane and the Gold Coast at People First Stadium, but it should be good. Don't forget, folks, we got games coming up tomorrow, and of course, it all kicks off at about 1:15 p.m. Melbourne time. That's Hawthorn taking on Port Adelaide. Following that, we've got Sydney taking on North Melbourne, and following that, we'll probably cover the West Coast Eagles and the Richmond game. We'll bypass Carlton Melbourne. I don't think that'll be much of a game at all. And of course, coming up Sunday, I think we you know what? I think we're going to bypass the Geelong St Kilda game as well. And I think we're going to go straight on to the Collingwood Fremantle game so we can get that full game in there for Addy G. We'll get the full game of that one. And then we'll probably get the last half of the Adelaide Gold Coast game. So that should be all right. I wouldn't mind doing the Geelong St Kilda game, but that's, of course, that will run into the Collingwood Freo game. And I just don't want that. I want the coverage of the full game for everyone out there for the Collingwood Fremantle game, because that's going to be fantastic at the MCG. That's going to be a big game. Game of the century. I tell you what, we're certainly going to find out. We're certainly going to find out where Freo sits right now. And, of course, let me just reboot this up. That is the live ladder. Of course, Brisbane a game and a half clear now in second position. Just a half a game behind Collingwood on top. And, of course, the Western Bulldogs still a game outside of the top 8, sitting in ninth position. So the Western Bulldogs fans will all be hoping that either Fremantle, Hawthorn, Gold Coast or Geelong lose tomorrow, because the Western Bulldogs will... sure as honey is sweet, they'll have a victory next week, the Western Bulldogs, when they take on Essendon at Marvel Stadium. We just don't know about Brisbane Lions. So they're going to come up against a tough one against the Gold Coast Suns. It's going to be a tough one. 82% went for the Brisbane Lions tonight. Well done, everyone in the chat. You got it right. Well done. The chat's always pretty good, pretty smart, the chat that comes in here. Puts our poll up. We usually get it right. Hey, all right, folks, that's all I've got for this one. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll be kicking it off at around 1:15, I think it is, 1:15 p.m. I think that's somewhere there. Yeah, around 1:15 p.m. tomorrow. That's Hawthorn taking on Port Adelaide. So it should be another interesting game. Can Port Adelaide... I think that's being played down there in Tasmania. So it should be an interesting game. With Kenny Hinkley only got about 5 games to go as coach at Port Adelaide. Can they do it for Kenny? I think everyone in the top 8 are hoping the Port Adelaide get up over Hawthorn, especially the Western Bulldogs and, of course, Freo, of course, and everyone else. All right, folks. Hey, that's all I've got for this one. I thank everyone for coming in. It was another great game. Tell you what, 10 points in it. And, of course, it was only 4 points prior to that last kick. 4 points in it up until the final kick of the siren. So she was pretty close. The Dogs nearly got the job done. They nearly come and snuck it. But Brisbane, tell you what, you've just got to kick a little bit straighter in your games. 12-14, the Dogs 12-4. The Dogs kicking actually nice and straight. Brisbane kicking wayward. They need to get this area of their game cleaned up and polished before finals as well for them. All right, folks, that's all I've got for this one. I'm out of here. So until tomorrow, Hawthorn taking on Port Adelaide. Ciao for now, and we'll see you at that next game.